All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And today we are going to be bringing you this wonderful adaptation of the Douglas Adams book. And yeah, so let's go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Karina. I'm doing screen description.
I'm John. I'll be playing Arthur.
I'm Logan. I'm going to be Ford.
I'm Chelsea, and I'm going to be Zaphod.
Hey, I'm Mary. I'll be Trisha, aka Trillian.
I'm Eric. I'll be Marvin.
I'm Molly. I'll be the guide voice.
I'm Travis playing Vocon Commander Jeltz.
I'm Jessica, and I'll be Deep Thought and Questular.
All right, and take us away, Karina.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, written by Douglas Adams, based on the book The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, revisions by Carrie Kirkpatrick. Over darkness, we hear what we'll come to know as the voice of the guide.
It is an important and popular fact that things are not always what they seem.
A small square image appears on screen. Home video. The Dolphin Stadium at SeaWorld.
For instance, on the planet Earth, man had always assumed that he was the most intelligent species occupying the planet, instead of the third most intelligent, which was, in fact, entirely accurate.
The dolphins perform leaping through hoops, etc.
The second most intelligent creatures were, of course, the dolphins, who, curiously enough, had long known of the impending destruction of planet Earth. They had made many attempts to alert mankind to the danger, but most of their communications were misinterpreted as amusing attempts to punch footballs or whistle for tidbits. So they eventually decided they would leave Earth by their own means.
They leap madly, desperately, higher and higher.
The last ever dolphin message was misinterpreted as a surprisingly sophisticated attempt to do a double backward somersault through a hoop while whistling the Star-Spangled Banner. But in fact, the message was this: so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Titles wall, full screen, 35mm images. Dolphins leap over and interact with opening titles. Breathtaking somersaults, backflips choreographed to Buzzy Berkeley-style song called So Long and Thank for all the fish. We end with a wide shot of all the dolphins jumping out of the top of the frame, but they never come back down. Tilt up to a starry night sky, the dolphins have vanished. In titles. As night turns to morning, we hear click then.
As well, at SeaWorld Orlando and San Diego reporting that dolphins have mysteriously disappeared overnight.
Cut to interior Arthur Dent's bedroom, morning. Close on the clock radio, from which the voice emanates. A hand shuts it off. Arthur Dent is awake. 30s, kind face. His feet land perfectly in slippers as he stands and shuffles his very neat but very boring room. In the bathroom, Arthur gargles in front of the mirror. He bends over to spit, revealing a yellow bulldozer through the window towards his house. A tea kettle whistles off screen. Interior Arthur Dent's kitchen continues. Arthur sets the newspaper with the headlines "Dolphins Vanish" on the table, removes the kettle, doesn't notice through the window 3 more large bulldozers. He pours a cup of tea, sets the pot down to his mobile phone, next to his mobile phone. He picks it up, stares at a digital photo on the screen of himself and a very pretty woman, Trisha, at a costume party. He presses the phone to his head as if it were a cold compress. Suddenly, there's a loud rumbling scream. The tea rattles. Arthur looks out the window. Now he sees the bulldozers. The teacup shatters on the floor. Cut to exterior Arthur Dent's house, morning. Arthur, dressed in pajamas and robes, lies in the dirt in front of a bulldozer, blocking it from destroying his house. He yells into his mobile phone.
What do you mean he's gone out to lunch? You just said he was still at breakfast.
Mr. Foster, bureaucrat, leans over him.
Come off it, Mr. Dent. You can't lie in front of this bulldozers forever.
I'm game. We'll see who runs first.
This bypass has got to be built, and it's going to be built. You should have made your protest months ago.
The first I heard of it was when a workman came yesterday. I asked if he'd come to clean the window. He said he'd come to demolish the house. He didn't tell me right away, of course. First, he wiped a couple of windows and charged me 20 quid. Then he told me.
The bulldozer driver, looks guilty, ducks behind the steering wheel. Foster removes plans from his briefcase.
Look, These plans have been at display at the planning office for a year.
On display, I had to go down to a cellar.
It's the display department.
I eventually found them in the bottom of a locked-filled cabinet in a disused lavatory with a sign on the door saying, "Beware of the leopard."
Mr. Dent, have you any idea how much damage that bulldozer would suffer if I just let it roll straight over you?
How much?
None at all!
Arthur!
The process turns to see a man cresting a hill, pushing a shopping cart which is filled with beer and bags of peanuts. This is Ford. Weary and tense, as he heads downhill, he leaps up and rides the cart down towards Arthur's house. Like a kid in a supermarket, he rolls right past Arthur and the bulldozers.
Ford?
He leaps off, drags the cart to a full stop.
Arthur, there you are. Here, drink and eat with me. We need to talk.
Now's not the best time, for they're going to demolish my home.
Whoa. You already know? How?
Arthur simply motions to the bulldozer.
Oh, when you say they, you mean they. Got it. Listen, I gotta tell you something important, and I gotta tell you now.
What about my house?
Ford looks to Prosser, who is conferring with the bulldozer driver. He pushes the car over to him. Arthur watches as Ford gestures to, waves his hand, and all the dozer engines die. The bulldozer driver step down, start drinking the beer and eating the peanuts. Ford returns to Arthur.
Come on, let's go to the pub. He said they won't destroy your house until they finish the case of beer.
Can we trust him?
I trust him to the end of the world.
And how far is that?
About 12 minutes away.
Interior village pub midday. Ford and Arthur enters the half-full pub. Ford hurries to the bar. Arthur follows, cell phone to his ear.
6 pints bitter, and quickly the world's about to end.
Oh, yes, sir. Nice weather for it.
He starts to pull pints. Ford shoves bar peanuts into his pocket while Arthur shouts into his phone.
Well, when does he get back from lunch? Or has he gone straight out for tea?
He shuts the phone, sits looking forlorn.
Is this shaping up to be a crap day?
About to get a lot crappier.
There you are. 6 pints.
Ford slams down a 50-pound note. The barman's impressed.
Keep the change, you got about 10 minutes to spend it.
Ford pushes 3 pints in front of Arthur.
What was that, Arthur?
We didn't hear it in the first line, John.
Sorry, my internet cut out. I'm sorry, my internet cut out. What happened?
3 pints.
Oh, 3 pints at lunchtime.
Time is an illusion. Lunchtime, doubly so.
Very deep. You should send that into the Reader's Digest. They've got a page for people like you.
Drink up.
Why 3 pints?
Muscle relaxing. I need these. You'll need the salt.
What's going on, Ford?
What would you say if I told you I wasn't really from Guilford, but from a small planet somewhere in the vicinity of Betelgeuse?
Why, is this the sort of thing you're likely to say?
Remember when we met?
Quick cut to a street, midday. Ford stands in the middle of the road, extending a hand to a fast-approaching car. Arthur drops his shopping, dives at him, and tackles him out of the way as the car zooms past. Back to Ford in the pub.
Didn't you find it a little strange that I was trying to shake hands with a car?
I assumed you were drunk.
I thought cars were the dominant life form. I was trying to introduce myself.
And that's why you're named after a discontinued car from the 70s?
You saved my life that day. Now I'm saving yours.
Arthur just stares at him, then turns to his beer.
This must be Thursday. I can never get a hang of Thursdays.
Look, if it's about your house...
No, it's not that. It's...
He shows Ford the photo of he and Trisha on his phone.
I found her, Ford. The perfect girl. I found her, and I let her get away. You remember the fancy dress party I told you about?
This isn't a long story, is it? We only got about 6 minutes.
Arthur shakes his head. Ford checks his watch.
Okay, talk and drink. Fancy dress party.
At a flat in Islington, I told you about it last week, remember?
Flashback to interior Islington flat night. Crowded flat. Everyone's in costume. Loud music blares.
I can I can't bear those sort of parties. Didn't want to go, would have much rather stayed home and, I don't know, brushed the dog, anything. But there I was, and then there she was.
Arthur, dressed in safari attire, complete with his helmet, sits off to the side, observing, looking miserable.
Who are you?
Arthur looks up. Trisha McMillan is dressed in a mild 19th century men's suit with mutton chop sideburns and is holding a taxidermy beagle. And she still looks beautiful. Arthur, ever the gentleman, stands.
I'm Arthur Dent.
No, I mean, who are you?
Oh, the costume, right. Livingston, I presume. Granted, not as clever as Darwin, but the best I could do on short notice.
You're the first person who's got it right. Everyone keeps calling me Sherlock.
Really? Thought the beagle made it rather obvious.
He pets the dog. She smiles. He smiles back. The camera flashes. Jump cuts to the balcony. Arthur has just taken a digital photo of he and Trisha on his cell phone. They look at the screen image and laugh.
She was amazing for it. Witty and beautiful and brilliant. 4 or 5 degrees, one in math, one in astrophysics, another in biology.
I've got so many degrees, I'm officially unemployed. Let's drink to that.
They clink their wine glasses, take a sip, and continue to chat.
Just as I was asking myself, why is this stunning and intelligent woman even giving me the time of day? Out of nowhere, she says,
Let's go somewhere.
yeah, it is a bit noisy. There's a lovely cafe around the corner.
I was thinking Madagascar.
Is that a new club on Dean Street?
No, it's a country. Off the coast of Africa?
Oh, that's Madagascar. Right, off we go. Good God, you're serious.
He nods. Arthur isn't sure how to react.
Well, that's an extraordinary proposition, but I can't just up and go. What about my job?
Wait, get anyone when we return.
I can't. What about my house? Who would feed my dog?
Bring him with.
He's a Welsh collie. He'll feel all out of place in Madagascar.
Trisha forces a smile, clearly disappointed.
Is this guy bothering you?
They both turn to face Apple Beeblebox, very charming, extremely handsome, whose attire seems very otherworldly. Knee-high boots, a yellow sash.
Hi, I'm Zaphod Beeblebrox, president of the galaxy. Of course, you probably already knew that. I'm heading for a lost and distant planet. You want to see my spaceship?
I went to refresh our drinks. When I came back, she was gone.
Exterior, back in the pub, continuous. Arthur stares into his beer, plagued by this loss.
Would you like to see my spaceship? Really, what sort of chat-headed line is that?
More popular than you'd think.
Left messages, sent letters. It's like she vanished off the face of the earth.
Yeah, that does happen. Speaking of, we got about 2 minutes, so drink up.
There's a roar of engines and a loud crash outside. Arthur and everyone else in the pub look up.
My house!
He runs out. Ford rises, grabs 2 handfuls of peanuts from the bowl, tosses the barman all the money in his pocket.
Round for everyone, on me.
You really think the world's going to end? Shouldn't we lie down or put bag over our heads or something?
You want?
Will it help?
Not really.
He gives everyone in the bar a friendly salute and exits.
Last orders then.
Exterior street outside the pub midday. Arthur runs up the road towards his house, which is being bulldozed. Ford strides casually behind in the distance.
Stop, you bastards!
Arthur suddenly stops running and covers his ears as we hear the loudest rumble in motion picture history. A gigantic yellow spaceship pictures a concrete tower block, sweeps overhead. Ford hits the deck. Arthur is blown sideways. Trees are uprooted. Ford rises and hurries to the... That was Arthur's house. He digs around near the exposed toilet and comes up with a towel. He hurries to Arthur's side. Another ship screams over, blowing them down again. Rain is knocked out of the clouds and lands in one big Everywhere is soaked.
What the hell are those things?
Ships from the Vogon construction fleet picked up their signal this morning.
He shows Arthur his blinking sensomatic device.
Here, you'll need this.
He tosses Arthur the towel. Then he removes a short black rod, the electric thumb. He sticks it out. Interior satellite tracking station. Picture mission control in Houston. Workers scramble, motion line the wall, showing hundreds of news reports from around the globe. Panic, chaos, and pandemonium. Suddenly there's a loud hum through the speakers, followed by loud gargles and screeching. Then,
People of Earth, this is Prosthetic Vogon Jones of the Galactic Hyperspace Planning Council.
interior a suburban break room continues. Breakfast room, I'm sorry. A family at breakfast baffles that their cutlery boards, bowls, and bowls and glasses resonate with the sound of its voice.
As you're probably aware, plans for development of the outlining regions of the galaxy involve the building of a hyperspace express route through your star system.
Exterior Oxford Street Electronics Store continuous. Several patrons watch the walls of TVs, all projecting a snowy, distorted image. Jert's voice blares through the speakers.
And fortunately, your planet is one of those scheduled for demolition. The process will take slightly less than 2 of your Earth minutes. Thank you.
Through the window behind him, throngs of people stampede down Oxford Street screaming. Interior, Logan Constructor's ship bridge continuous. Logan Bridge is like a waterlogged old Skoda.
There's no point in acting at all surprised about it. The plans and demolition orders have been on display at your local planning office in Alpha Centauri for 50 of your Earth years, so you have plenty of time to lodge formal complaints.
Exterior field by Arthur's house continues. Ford grabs hold of Arthur's shirt, extends the thumb. Interior, the pub continues. Pull back from the jukebox. The pub seems deserted.
What do you mean you've never been to Alpha Centauri? Oh, for heaven's sake, mankind, it's only 4 light years away, you know? I'm sorry, but if you can't be bothered to take an interest in local affairs, that's your own lookout.
Pull back farther. People lay on the ground with paper bags on their heads. Interior Logan Construction ship bridge continuous. Jertz turns. He's large, green, and walrusy.
Apathetic bloody planet, I have no sympathy at all. Energize the demolition beams.
One of his walrusy first officers push a yellow button. Big shot from space, looking down on Earth. As all the Logan ships simultaneously send down a beam of yellow light, glowing fireballs travel down the beams towards Earth. On impact, they bore into the surface.
Detonate.
Like a giant casino going down in Vegas, there are a few small explosions, and the Earth implodes, just collapse in on itself. Gone. Logan's ship slowly retreats in formation, leaving nothing but darkness and stars. Then a distant red glow appears. As it gets nearer, we see that it says, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a wholly remarkable book.
The title draws near. We see that it sits on an electronic book with lots of buttons.
Perhaps the most remarkable, certainly the most successful book ever to come out of the great publishing corporations of Ursa Minor.
The book opens, revealing 2 screens. Image appears. A star map, layers of data, captions, videos, animations.
More popular than the Celestial Home Care Omnibus, better selling than 53 More Things to Do in Zero Gravity, and more controversial than Ulan's Colophytus trilogy of philosophical blockbusters Where God Went Wrong, Some More of God's Great Mistakes, and Who is This God Person Anyway?
Now the image rises up from the screen like holographs, as the book presents itself like some high-tech infomercial.
And many of the more relaxed civilizations on the outer eastern rim of the galaxy of the Hitchhiker's Guide has already supplemented the great Encyclopedia Galactica as a standard repository of all knowledge and wisdom. For though it has many omissions and contains much which is apocryphal, or at least wildly inaccurate, it scores over the older, more pedestrian work in 2 important respects. First, it is slightly cheaper. And second, it has the words, "Don't Panic," printed in large friendly letters on its cover.
The book closes. The words "Don't Panic" appear just below the title, blinking like a tacky diner marquee. pull back from the guide to find Arthur holding it, the blinking light illuminating his very distorted face. Interior, hold on Logan Constructor Ship Night. Arthur, in total shock, holds up the guide.
So you're not from Guildford, which would explain the accent, which I've always wondered about. And you're not an out-of-work actor, but rather a writer for this book thing.
Ford nods. Arthur rubs his weary brow.
I don't feel well. I need a cup of tea.
Ford hands him a fistful of peanuts.
Here, eat these. If you've never been through a transmat beam before, you probably lost some salt and protein.
Arthur eats some peanuts, sits up, squints. Ford feels his way around the room, looking for something.
If I asked where we were, would I regret it?
We're safe for now.
Good.
Look, we're in the storage hold of one of the ships of the Vogon constructor fleet.
Obviously, some strange use of the word safe I wasn't previously aware of.
Is it?
Tell me you're joking.
Okay, I'm joking.
And do a reassuring little laugh. Now tell me where we really are.
In the storage hold of a Vogon constructor ship.
Ford continued his search. Arthur breathing crickets.
Oh, get me home, Ford.
Home, Arthur. Your home is.
Oh, God, it was demolished. I've got to reach my lawyer. He must be back from lunch by now.
He pulls out a cell phone, desperately punches numbers. Ford flips on a light switch, revealing a messy chamber full of alien junk and old mattresses.
You don't remember, do you? Look, okay, I've got something to tell you. It ain't gonna be easy, but you're gonna have to just deal, okay?
Good God, is this really the interior of a flying saucer?
Yeah, why?
Shot deep space, the Vogan fleet in flight.
Oh, it's a bit squalid, isn't it?
Hey, man, you're in denial.
Interior Vogan constructor ship bridge. Jeltz consults on screen after another. At last he sees Ford and Arthur. His walrusy eyes narrow. Back in the sleeping quarters, minutes later.
Blown up. Blown up. Couldn't you have done something?
I did. I saved you.
There are 6 billion other people.
And all those ants.
Yes, but ants aren't exactly people.
And now you're thinking like a Vogon. Look, I saved your life, okay? Which makes us even. Next thing.
Ford throws Arthur a towel. Arthur looks confused.
It's a tough galaxy. You want to survive out here? You really got to know where your towel is. All right, now give me a hand over here.
Arthur joins Ford near a rusty ventilation pipe.
Careful. It's hot.
He slides a towel behind the pipe, holding each end of it. Arthur does the same.
Look, we got to get off the ship before the Vogons find us. Vogons hate hitchhikers, which is why they make ships with walls that won't allow the sub-Etna signal to pass through. So we've got to send the signal up and out if we want to catch a ride. Pull.
They both pull. A section of pipe snaps out. He shoots out. Ford holds the back thumb under the pipe.
What's a Vogon?
That's the guide. Save Vogons.
Ford continues turning dials. Arthur lifts the guide.
Vogons.
The word Vogons floats up into his field of vision.
Vogons.
Character history, how to have fun with, how to annoy, what to avoid shows on the book screen. Arthur touches characters.
Vogons are one of the most unpleasant races in the galaxy. Not evil, but bad-tempered, bureaucratic, officious, and callous. They wouldn't even lift a finger to save their own grandmothers from the ravenous bug-bladder beast of Traal without order signed in triplicate, sent in, sent back, queried, lost, found, subjected to public inquiry, lost again, and finally buried in soft peat for 3 months and recycled as firelighters.
Arthur touches how to have fun with.
The best way to get a drink out of a Vogon is to stick your finger down his throat.
Arthur touches what to avoid.
On no account should you allow a Vogon to read poetry to you.
They can't think. They can't imagine. Most of them can't even spell. They just run things. And if we don't get a ride soon, you won't need the guide to illustrate just how unpleasant the Vogons can be. They've already destroyed a planet today. That always makes them a little feisty.
It can't be gone. It can't be. Earth. Earth.
Earth.
An image of the Earth appears on the guide screen.
Harmless.
Arthur waits and waits. The Earth image fades away.
That's it? That's all this idiotic book has to say about my home? Harmless?
Hey, there are 100 billion stars in the galaxy and only a limited amount of space in the book's microprocessors. No one knew much about Earth. That's why I was there, to expand the entry. I fired off a new one to the editor before I got stranded.
What does it say now?
Mostly harmless.
Before Arthur can react, a speaker hums to life with screeching howls and gargles. Arthur cups his ears.
What the hell is that?
Here, put this in your ear.
Ford removes a small yellow fish from his pouch. He moves it to put it in Arthur's ear. Arthur struggles.
What? Stop, don't come near me.
The loud gargling noise continues. Ford has to wrestle to get the fish in Arthur's ear.
What's happening?
As he succeeds, the noise mutes to the boat's captain's voice. Arthur looks credits.
This is your captain speaking, so stop whatever you're doing and pay attention.
The fish. Translating for you.
According to our instruments, we have unwittingly picked up a couple of hitchhikers who must be apprehended and...
Arthur doesn't want to hear any of this. Pulls the fish back out of his ear. Ford struggles, shoves it back in Arthur's ear again.
And this is not a taxi service for degenerate freeloaders.
The door bursts open. Bogan guard enters, grabs Ford and Arthur. They struggle.
Resistance is useless.
The struggle continues. As they are dragged out of the door, Arthur continues to try to yank the fish out of his ear. Ford wrestles with him, trying to keep it in.
The babblefish is small, yellow, leech-like, and probably the oddest thing in the universe.
Interior Vogon ship corridor. A bleak corridor, the Vogon guard pushes a still struggling Arthur and Ford down it.
It feeds on brainwave energy, absorbing unconscious frequencies and excreting a matrix of conscious frequencies to the speech centers of the brain. The practical upshot of which is that if you stick one in your ear, you instantly understand anything said to you in any language.
Arthur continues to struggle until he passes a portal window. He backs up to look out. Arthur's point of view of space through the window. Beautiful purple-orange clouds of swirling stars and gases. It finally sinking in. He's in deep space. Guard yanks Arthur away, pushes him forward with Ford. Arthur looks lost and confused. They approach a set of double doors. He stops, the guard shoves him forward.
Forward.
But don't panic. If we're lucky, they'll just throw us into space.
And if we're unlucky?
Ford's apprehensive. Look, we cut you. Oh, shoot. Interior Vogon's constructor bridge continues. Arthur and Ford are strapped against two concrete pillars with hundreds of elastic bands. A strange and lethal-looking device descends from the ceiling. Looks like an instrument of torture. As the device descends, Jeltz fishes a jeweled crab out of a gunky and smashes it with a hammer. Jeltz takes the device in his hand, then blows. We hear feedback. It's a microphone, like the ones used to introduce boxers. He taps it. This thing's on? It is. He faces them, holding up a book entitled Smirks, then begins to read Vogon poetry.
Oh, Friendlin Bugley, thy superations are to me as Perlin Gabalagotrich on a lugrid bee.
Ford is in pain, as Arthur, but less so.
Vogon poetry is widely accepted as the third worst in the universe.
Ford vibrates like he's having an epileptic seizure. Arthur just looks like he has a migraine.
The second worst is that of the Azagoths of Krea. During a recitation by their poet master Gunthros the Flatulent of his poem Ode to a Small Lump of Green Putty I Found in My Armpit One Midsummer Morning, 4 of his audience died of internal hemorrhaging, and the president of Midgalactic Arts Nobbling Council survived by gnawing off one of his own legs.
Spasm racks Ford's body. He screams. Arthur squints.
Or I shall rend thee in the gobber warts with my plunger crusher to tread. See if I don't.
Ford's entire body tenses, arches, then goes limp. Arthur lets out an audible sigh as the poem ends.
The absolute worst poetry was written by Paul and Nancy Millstone Jennings of Sussex. It involved decaying swans. Luckily, it was destroyed when the Earth was.
So, Earthlings, I present you with a simple choice. Either die in the vacuum of space, or tell what you thought of my poem.
Ford is spent, can't say a word. Arthur looks up.
Actually, I rather liked it.
Giles looks surprised. Ford notices, whispers to Arthur.
Good tact. Run with it.
Some of the words I didn't understand, but I found the imagery quite effective
Continue.
and interesting rhythmic devices which seem to counterpoint the surrealism of the underlying metaphor of the vaganity of the poet's soul, which contrives through the medium of the verse structure to submit
Whatever it was.
the poem was about.
Giles rubbed one of his chins, then smiles and claps slowly.
Damn.
What?
I think you just saved my life again.
And a suit analyst. Very impressive. Throw them off the ship.
Guard grabs them, drags them off the bridge.
This is useless!
Counterpart the surrealism of the underlying metaphor. That's too good for them.
Giles picks up the fishing rod, goes for another crab. Interior Vogon ship corridor. Moments later, the guard shoves them into the airlock. Interior airlock continuing. They sit, panting. Arthur stares forward.
So this is it. We're going to die.
Yes. No, wait. What's the switch? No, it's nothing. We're gonna die.
Arthur sits for a moment, then oddly chuckles to himself.
You know, it's time like this when I'm trapped in a Vogon airlock with a man from Beetlejuice and about to die of asphyxiation in deep space that I really wish I'd listened to what my mother told me when I was young.
Why? What did she tell you?
I don't know. I didn't listen.
Ford folds a towel into a tiny square, holds it up towards Arthur.
You're sweating.
Ford dabs Arthur's brow. They stare forward at the airlock door. Long pause. Nothing happens. They look to each other, shrug. They might be okay. Then the bottom drops out. They suck down and out. Exterior deep space. It continues. Ford and Arthur spin away from the ship. Holding their breath, the guide slips out of Arthur's pocket.
Space, says the introduction to the Hitchhiker's Guide, is big, really big. You just wouldn't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the market, but that's just peanuts compared to space, and so on.
The weightless guide twirls away. Arthur reaches for it. The words "don't panic" light.
It also says that if you hold a lungful of air, you can survive in the total vacuum of space for about 30 seconds. But with space being really big and all, the chances of being picked up within that time are 2 to the power of 207675949 to 1 against.
Something else falls out of his pocket. His digital phone with the photo of he and Trisha at the fancy dress party.
Which, by a staggering coincidence, is also the telephone number of the Islington flat where Arthur once went to a fancy dress party and met a very nice girl, with he totally blew it with.
He reaches for the phone. It's just beyond his fingertips. His eyes widen with fret as the phone tumbles away. Then, whoomp. Space seems to stretch and bend. A tiny hole appears and then opens wide. Paper hats and party balloons fall out, then drift away. The hole flips inside out. Arthur and Ford are empty. Then replaced by a stunning, sleek starship, the Heart of Gold.
Two to the power of 100,000 to 1 against, and falling.
Cut to Interior Heart of Gold Receiving Bay night. In the middle of this high-tech receiving bay sits two ornate golden brocade sofas.
2 to the power of 10,000 to 1 against and falling.
The sofas shake a little.
Ford,
Yeah,
I think I'm a sofa.
I know how you feel.
The long pause. Both sofas begin to thrash in panic.
5 to 1 against and falling.
A pair of arms and legs pop out of each sofa.
4 to 1 against and falling.
Interior Heart of Gold Bridge night. Close on a monitor on which plays a news report.
And of course, the top story is still the sensational theft of the new Improbability Drive prototype ship, Heart of Gold, last week, stolen at the launch ceremony by none other than Galactic President Zephyrod Beeblebrox.
So in the name of people and freedom and I don't know, democracy and stuff like that, I hereby kidnap myself. And I'm taking the ship with me. Woo!
Pulls back to Philip Beeblebox, leaning towards a TV, watching with a very satisfied grin.
2 to 1. 2 to 1.
Annoyed, he turns. There is a woman with red hair, Trillium. Her back to him, reading numbers off a console display and speaking into a microphone.
Probability factor of 1 to 1. We have normality. I repeat, we have normality.
Hey, you mind? I can't hear.
Elaine turns, and we now recognize her as Trisha from the fancy dress party. Her hair is shorter and bright red. She looks amazing.
Can we put your ego aside for one moment? Something important happens.
Is there anything more important than my ego on this ship? I want a cotton shot right now. All right.
He turns back to the TV, turns it up.
The question everyone seems to be asking is, has the Big Z finally flipped? We asked his private brain care specialist, Gag Halfront.
Well, Zephon's just the guy, you know.
The TV suddenly clicks off. That one spins, Trillium's holding a remote.
Hey,
We have a couple of hitchhikers in our receiving bay.
His head jerks upward. He quickly grabs it with his hand and shoves it back down.
hitchhikers. Why did you pick up hitchhikers?
I didn't pick them up. The ship did.
Huh?
When you engage in probability drive, it's this big button.
I didn't engage the drive.
We picked them up in sector ZZ9 plural Z alpha, where you picked me up.
That's impossible.
No, just very, very improbable.
Look, I don't have time for this. We got police, half the galaxy after us. We stopped to pick up hitchhikers. All right, so 10 out of 10 for style, but minus 7 million for good thinking, toots.
He slaps Trillium on the butt and reaches for a high-tech gun on the wall. She stops him.
Don't. I'll send Marvin. Marvin!
Alfred rolls his eyes, and a humanoid robot, short with a giant head, rises from the seat behind them. This is Marvin. He slumps shoulders towards Zappo.
I think you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed.
Well, we have something to take your mind off things.
It won't work. I have an exceptionally large mind.
I know. Go down to the number 2 entry bay and bring the 2 aliens up here.
Just that?
Yes.
I won't enjoy it.
She's not asking you to enjoy it. Just do it, will you?
All right, I'll do it.
Marvin turns and trots away. Then he turns again.
I'm not getting you down at all, am I?
No, Marvin. It's really fine. It's just a part of life.
Life? Don't talk to me about life.
Marvin trundles away. A door slides open for him and makes an audible, satisfied sigh as it does.
Ah!
Exterior deep space night. The Heart of Gold cruises around a bright star. Interior bridge of Vogon destroyer ship night. A light blinks on the console. A Vogon captain turns a dial, listens through his headset. He punches a few buttons. Commander, alt screen and Wawasee like jolts, appears on the large monitor, sitting in his chair at command headquarters.
Commander Qualtz, we've located the spaceship Heart of Gold in President Beeblebrock's sector CZ9 plural Z Alpha requesting hyperspace clearance.
Hold your position, Captain, until clearance is granted.
Interior Vogon command headquarters, moments later. Qualt sits at the end of the console room table.
Get me the Vice President.
Approximately 15 Vogons sit around the table, murmuring sporadically. A Vogon messenger runs up, holding papers. Qualtz takes them, signs the next page, and the next. He hands them back to the messenger, who has been jogging in place the whole time. He runs off. The Vogon captain appears on the large screen before him.
Hyperspace permission granted, Captain.
Exterior space night. 100 regular Vogon ships blast forward. Cut to interior Heart of Gold receiving bay night. Arthur looks around and notices the room is gleaming white. High-tech, brand new, plastic still on some stuff.
Now this is more like my idea of a spaceship. Look at all these buttons.
They listen, hear footsteps.
This way.
Pushes a button, the door slides open with a satisfied sigh. As they walk through, interior hall corridor night.
Thank you for using this door. I've enjoyed opening it for you.
They leap through the other side as the door closes.
Ghastly, isn't it?
They whip around to find Marvin standing before them.
I've been ordered to take you up to the bridge. Here I am, brain the size of a planet, and they asked me to take you up to the bridge. Call that job satisfaction, 'cause I don't.
Marvin turns and walks away. They shrug to each other and follow. Marvin passes through another door that opens with the same ma.
What a pleasure it is to open for you. I will gladly close that for you now.
The door closes.
All the doors in the spacecraft have a cheerful and sunny disposition. It is their pleasure to open for you, and their satisfaction to close again with the knowledge of a job well done.
Doors repeat its whole closing and opening routine again.
Hateful, isn't it? You can thank the marketing division of the Serious Cybernetics Corporation for building robots with GPP.
GPP?
Genuine people personalities. A personality prototype. You can tell, can't you? Sorry, did I say something wrong? Pardon me for Pardon me for breathing, which I never do anyway. So I don't know why I even bothered to say it. Oh God. I'm so depressed.
They round a corner.
And then I've got this terrible pain in all the diodes down my left side. I've asked for them to be replaced, but no one ever listens.
Really? Wonder why?
Probably because he's so negative.
Yes, I know. I was being... Never mind.
They continue on. Interior Heart of Gold bridge moments later. Hanging on the wall is the official presidential portrait featuring Staffel, who sports a very smart suit and a fake politician smile. Tilt down to the door, which opens to reveal Ford, Arthur, and Marvin.
I brought the aliens. Don't thank me or anything.
Staffel spins around in his chair, holding a gun, but sporting that same political correct smile.
Freeze!
Arthur and Ford throw their hands up. Marvin doesn't.
Do you mean sit in a corner or us to just fall apart where I'm standing?
Wasn't talking to you, Chuckles.
Zaphod?
Ixie? Yeah.
Ford gives Ford a big bear hug. He pulls away, then playfully punches Ford in the arm.
Oh, Praxabiddle X, you Zarkin Hoppy. What the hell are you doing here?
I don't know. Just stuck out my thumb, and here I am.
That is so you.
And look at you, President. Last time I saw you, you were a beach bum.
Is this a great galaxy or what? I still can't believe this. Ixie, here on my ship.
Hey, it's Ford now. My name, it's Ford Prefect. Picked it up on Earth. It sort of grew on me.
Okay, Ford, you Zarkin fruit.
They embrace, tussle, punch arms. They bump into Arthur.
Oh, this is Arthur. Arthur, this is Zaphod Beeblebrox, my cousin, semi-half brother.
He shares 3 of the same mothers as me.
We've met.
Have we? Sorry, I've got a terrible memory for faces and species.
This is him, Ford. You want to see my spaceship guy?
Before anyone can say anything else, Trillian enters.
Everything okay?
Hey, hon, come here. You won't believe this. Ford. This is...
Prisha?
She takes a closer look at him.
Arthur?
Arthur is stunned silent. He goes to her, making sure she's really there. He's speechless. She smiles and gives him a friendly embrace.
I can't believe this. I've been looking, and you're here. I went to get wine, and
I know. It was rude just to leave, but I told you I wanted to get away, and he had a spaceship parked outside. Well, honestly, I assumed you were a sort of stay at home and read a book type. But you're here.
Arthur smiles, then realizes with some regret.
actually, I am that type. But you don't know what happened, do you?
Stafford steps in between them, puts his arm around Arthur.
Ford picked him up. They hitched a ride. Here we all are. Now, enough small talk, Trill. We're on the run. Remember, a stole ship.
We're having a bit of a chat, if you don't mind.
Arthur shoves Stafford's hand off his shoulder. Oddly, Stafford reacts with a smile. Then his head shoots all the way, revealing a second head that lives somewhere underneath his chin.
You blew it with it, Earthman, so shut your face or I'll kick you in the gonies.
That's what I remember.
Arthur recoils in horror, instinctively raises his fists. Stafford wrestles with head too, while a third arm springs out of Stafford's chest and punches Arthur in the jaw. Arthur buckles and hits the floor.
Ha! You should teach your pal a lesson for it. He's a guest on my ship. He's a guest on my ship.
You said you stole it.
So what were we talking about?
Black sun's down. Red lights flash. Stafford head too hurries the console. Ford follows. Trillian hurries to Arthur, who nurses his jaw.
Are you all right?
I feel like a bloody idiot. I've spent all week looking for Trisha McMillan, and that isn't even your name.
That is my name. I shortened it to something more spacey.
Trillian!
Well, I'm still Arthur. Just plain average, one-headed, doesn't own a spaceship Arthur. Sorry to disappoint.
Little help over here.
Trillian leaves Arthur, joins Zaplin.
They're after us. Fire a gun, launch a missile, do some damage. Come on.
Stafford's arm struggles with his head again, while an extra arm slaps Trillian's butt again. Quick shot, deep space. A dull gray rectangular Vogon battlecruiser is easing up behind the Heart of Gold. Behind the cruiser is about 100 other battleships flying in formation. Back on the bridge,
Computer?
very eager male computer voice, Eddie, sounds.
Hi guys, this is Eddie, your shipboard computer, and I just know I'm going to get you a bundle of kicks out of any program you want to run through me.
Can you identify our pursuers?
I'd be happy to. Stand by, please. Hey guys, I'm just as pleased as punch to report that it's a fleet of 100 Vogon battle destroyers. You must be super important to warrant such an effort, and gee, am I impressed. They're sending a message. I'd be super happy to play it.
Fine, play it. This people personality thing's gonna drive me nuts. Can't you change it?
An image appears on the ship's monitor. Vice President Queslar Wantop, flanked by Vogon Commander Qualtz at HQ. She looks reluctant. She has to say this.
This is Vice President Questular Ronta. I am speaking to the kidnapper of the president. Surrender your stolen vehicle at once, or we will take action as defined and permitted by Section 1.8 of the Galactic Interstellar Space Bylaws.
Check it out. She digs me.
This is ridiculous. Zephoid, just surrender and come back.
Leap to hyperspace. Come on.
Sure thing, fella. But I should tell you, we need proper authorization before entering a hyperspace expressway.
Or else what? They'll send 101 ships? Do it.
He and Trillian buckle up. Ford turns to Arthur.
Hey, brace yourself. This is a bit like being drunk.
What's so bad about being drunk?
That's a glass of water.
They are stretched and squeezed by extraordinary forces. Interior Vogon headquarters night. Questular and Qualtz reach their front screens as the Heart of Gold blasts into hyperspace.
Did they have proper hyperspace authorization?
No, Commander.
Add that to their list of offenses. Blatant disregard for protocol. You do realize he did what he did because he knew this is what you would do? Rules are rules, Miss Vice President, and they are made to be followed.
Questular looks up to the screen at all the Vogon ships.
Don't you think this many ships is a bit, I don't know, excessive? The provisions are clear. Under subsection 37A, these are the forces we deploy to protect the president in the case of an attempted or actual kidnapping.
He holds up one fat official book with one hand.
And these are the forces we deploy to apprehend any intentional or actual kidnapper.
He holds up another fat book with the other.
You are aware, Commander, that the president kidnapped himself? Hence,
he puts the two books together, slams them down.
Do you have any idea how ridiculous this is? I don't have ideas, Miss Vice President. I just do what I do.
A Vogon messenger runs up holding papers. Qualtz takes them, signs one in two places, initials others, lifts the top sheet, removes a pink copy, folds it. He does this for the other two forms as well. Questular watches dumbfounded as Qualtz hands the papers back to the messenger, who turns and runs off. Exterior space night. The Heart of Gold comes out of space and slows to cruising speed, alone. No Vogons in sight. Interior, Heart of Gold bridge continuous. Saffold and Ford are sitting at a table, with Saffold using all three of his arms to prepare a drink.
So, you along for the ride, or am I dropping you somewhere?
Depends. Where are you going?
Into the pages of history, cousin. And when you see what I'm about to show you, you'll beg me to take you with us.
Sappho pours their drinks out of the shaker and into two glasses. They clink their glasses, down the drink, and immediately cry out, looking like they have the biggest brain freezes ever.
The best drink in the known universe is the Pangalactic Gargle Blaster. It has the effect of having your brain smashed out with a slice of lemon wrapped on a large gold brick.
Cut to Trillian, who notices Arthur looking ill. Saffold and Ford can still be heard screaming in the background.
You okay?
Normally, I would say I'll live, but given the circumstances, is there any tea on this spaceship?
This way.
She exits. Arthur follows. Saffold steps back, blocking his way.
Hey, man, Earthman. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Arthur.
Yeah. Right. No hard feelings, okay? And sorry to hear about your planet, but don't mention it to the girl because if you do, I'll pull your spleen out through your ass.
Sappho slams head 2 back into place, then smiles again. Arthur furrows his brow and follows Trillian.
2 heads. Interesting choice.
Yeah, apparently you can't be president with a whole brain.
So you carved it up?
Yeah, I think. And I think I did it in such a way that it wouldn't be detected by the government screening tests or by me. So what's so secret that I can't let anybody know I know it? Not the galactic government, not even myself. And the answer is, I don't know, obviously. But I put a few things together and that's when I realized I had this.
He points into the cobalt blue cube on his gold necklace. Interior ship kitchen area continuous. Close on, the nutrimatic machine. Brownish liquid flows into a martini glass, topped with dry ice fog. Arthur removes the glass, sips, grimace.
I suppose I should have said it resembles tea.
So 2 heads is what does it for a girl then? I mean, if I'd had 2 heads or 3.
Or your own spaceship?
Anything else he's got 2 of?
Come on, Arthur. Don't be like that.
Well, what am I supposed to be like? Green? Leaping? What?
Just be yourself. Have some fun. Does it hurt?
No, suppose it wouldn't.
I mean,
She points to his jaw. He nods. She picks up her backpack.
I might have an aspirin.
She unzips it. 2 mice scurry out and scamper off. A hair clip is clipped to one of the mice's tail.
Hey, what are you doing in there?
Before she can catch them, they scurry under the door.
So that's all that's left is me and you, mostly harmless, and 2 lab rats.
She furrows her brow. What does he mean?
Look, there's something I should tell you.
Showtime, Trill!
Can it keep? You might want to see this.
Arthur nods. She leaves. He looks at his tea, throws it in the trash bin. Interior heart of gold bridge continuous. Trillian and Arthur join Ford and Zappwood at the computer.
When I saw what I'm about to show you, that's when I realized why I did what I did to my brain. At least I think that's why.
On the computer screen, the screen brightens. A brand logo appears. A circle made out of a dotted line with the M in the middle. Then a subtitle, McGrathian Public Archive. Zappwood fast forwards into a noisy picture dissolves to exterior outside Temple of Deep Day. A procession surrounds a chariot. 2 young philosophers, Lunkwil and Fook, 20s, ride it into a grand temple. Interior Temple of Deep Thought. The aisles are lined with priest technicians. Ahead is Deep Thought, a huge Buddha-esque computer. The procession peels away to both sides. Lunkwil and Fook dismount and approach.
What is this great task for which I, Deep Thought, the second greatest computer of all time, have been called into existence?
Your task, oh computer.
Hang on, did you say second greatest?
Second greatest, yes.
We designed you to be the greatest computer so you could.
You're not talking about the Millard Gradatribrian, which can count all the atoms in a star of in a millisecond.
The Milligard Gabertubrain, a mere abacus. Mention it now.
The omnicognate neutron wrangler, then.
The omnicognate neutron wrangler could argue all 4 legs off an Arcturan megadonkey, but only I could persuade it to go for a walk afterwards.
Then what's the problem?
I am the greatest computer you are able to design without my help, which one day you are going to need.
Let's just ask the question.
Oh, Deep Thought, your task is this. We want you to tell us the answer.
Long pause. Deep Thought bleeps and bloops.
The answer to what?
You know, the answer to life, the universe, everything.
We'd really like an answer. something simple. Can you do it?
The ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. Yes, there is an answer, but I'll have to think about it.
Luckrow glances at his timepiece. Look at the spinning thong behind them. They wait.
Return to this place in exactly 7.5 million years.
What?
What?
Psh, the screen goes to snow. Exterior Heart of Gold Bridge continuous. Ford and Arthur look confused.
That's it?
No, there's more. They go back.
What, 7.5 million years later?
Saffold nods, hits play. We push back in screen. Interior Temple of Deep Thought. Lungbill and Fook enter the now modern temple, flanked by a crowd. They have beards, and they look like they're in their 40s. Deep Thought rises, looks lifeless. Worried mutters from the crowd. Slowly, Deep Thought groans to life.
Can I help you?
Deep Thought, do you have...
An answer for you. Yes, I have.
There really is an answer.
Yes, there really is one.
Oh,
Can you tell us what it is?
Yes, though I don't think you're going to like it.
doesn't matter. We must know it.
You're really not going to like it.
Tell us.
All right. The answer to the ultimate question
Yes.
of life, the universe, and everything
Yes.
is
Yes.
42.
Surrounding crowd is stunned. More muttering.
I checked it thoroughly. It would have been simpler, of course, to have known what the actual question was.
But it was the question, the ultimate question.
Yes, but what exactly is it?
Everything, just everything.
That's not a question. Only when you know what the actual question will you know what the answer means.
Give us the ultimate question then.
I can't. But there is one who can. A computer that is to come after me. One that I will design. A computer to calculate the ultimate question. One of such infinite complexity that life itself will form part of its operational matrix. And you yourselves shall take on new, more primitive forms and go down into the computer to navigate its 10 million year program. I shall design this computer for you, and it shall be called...
The picture distorts and whites out. Psh. Exterior Heart of Gold Bridge continuous. Saffold hits eject. The blue cube rises.
That's it?
That's it.
You're looking for the ultimate question?
Yep.
You.
Me.
Why?
Nah, I tried that. Y42 doesn't work. Let's get her ready, babe.
He moves to a different rack of instruments, consults a checklist, starts flipping some switches.
I mean, why do you want to know the ultimate question?
Oh, well, partially curiosity, partially sense of adventure, but mostly I think it's for the fame and the money, right?
He continues preparing the ship. Trillian consults the huge manual, turning dials, flipping switches.
But you're president of the galaxy, aren't you?
Yes, R-Man.
Arthur?
Oh, whatever. Presidential fame is temporary. I find the question that's permanent. It sticks. Plus, everyone thinks you're deep. Win-win.
But you don't know the name of the computer the other computer was talking about.
Which is why I'm going there.
Where?
There. To find deep thought. Magrathea.
Magrathea is a myth, a legend.
No, it isn't. It's real, cousin. And this is the only ship in the universe that can get you there.
You mean to tell me you carved up your brain so you could become president, so you would get invited to the launching ceremony of this ship, so you could steal it, so you could go to Magrathea, which according to the most sane people doesn't even exist?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Why this ship? What's so special about it?
I don't seem to be letting myself in on any of my secrets.
Because of this, obviously.
They turn to see Trillian flipping open a glass lid, revealing a big red button. Ford reads the glowing letters above the button.
Infinite improbability drive. Yes, they finally built one that works. And that's how we got picked up.
Exactly. And I'm guessing if we hit that button, we go to Magrathea.
You're guessing.
Well, I don't know for sure. We've already hit it a few times and we're still not there. But this time could be it. Anyone who's not up for that, there's a door. Who's in?
For a trip to a place that doesn't exist? Yeah, man, my editor will think I'm crazy, but what the hell? He already thinks I'm dead.
He takes out the guide. Zapwood looks to Trillian.
Definitely. I'm in.
They're all standing together. They turn to Arthur. Arthur looks to Trillian. She stares back, waiting.
Do I even have a choice?
No.
Arthur looks at the button.
What exactly does the infinite improbability drive do?
This!
Zapwood's third arm shoots out and smacks the button. Exterior space night. Improbability drive effect. As the ship flips across space and disappears, leaving nothing but shimmers.
The infinite improbability drive is a new method of crossing vast interstellar distances without all that tedious mucking about in hyperspace. As soon as the drive reaches infinite improbability, it passes through every conceivable point in every conceivable universe, almost simultaneously, then selects the appropriate re-entry point. The principle of generating small amounts of finite improbability by hooking the logic circuits of a Bambleweenie 57 submason brain to an atomic vector plotter suspended in a strong Brownian motion producer. A nice hot cup of tea were, of course, well understood.
Seconds later, the Vogon destroyer comes out of hyperspace and slows to cruising speed. Interior Vogon destroyer ship's bridge ignite. Vogon controllers and co-pilots turn dials and push buttons, scrabbling to gain a signal.
Such generators were often used to break ice at parties by making all the molecules in the hostess's undergarment leap simultaneously, 1 foot to the left, in accordance with a theory of interdeterminacy.
Waltz and Questia appear on the monitor.
Well, Captain?
Controllers turn more dials, trying to find the ship.
Many respectable physicists said they weren't going to stand for that sort of thing, partly because it was a debasement of science, but mostly because they didn't get invited to those sorts of parties.
We had them, sir. These are the coordinates, but they're not here.
I can see that. Where are they?
Captain shrugs. Waltz heaves a walrusy sigh. We hover above a purplish planet. Improbability effect. Space ripples. Something begins to materialize, something big and gray, tumbling towards us. We now see the big gray thing is a giant rhinoceros, which ripples, flips inside out, and becomes the Heart of Gold. Interior Heart of Gold Bridge Night. A knitted version of Arthur, Trillian, Ford, and Zapwood sits in chairs before the ship console.
Whoa. Is this going to happen every time we hit that button?
Very probably, yes.
The air ripples. The knitted crew flip back to their former selves. Arthur pukes into a trash bin and with a sick expression looks up to the screen.
Did it work? Are we there?
Yes, I think. Computer.
Hi, fella.
And 2 suddenly springs up.
Would you please change that Zarkin annoying voice?
Computer, what planet is that, please?
Checking.
On hold, music plays. They all sit and listen for a few beats. Then Arthur yelps.
Ow! Did you just pluck a hair from my head?
As if, ape man.
Arthur suddenly feels something on his back, leaps out of the chair and brushes it off. The 2 mice land on the floor across the ship, then scurry away down a hallway before Arthur can react.
Thanks for waiting, everyone. I'm just tickled pink to tell you we are currently in orbit around the planet Ziltzotl 6.
Push in on Zaphod, whose second head suddenly shoots up with an angry expression.
Homokamula!
Interior Vogon destroyer ship bridge night. Vogon crew quickly enters data. A flight engineer gets something on his screen, shows it to his captain.
Sir, the Heart of Gold has just requested permission to land on Vilta 6. Should I pursue?
That is not a request to which I can respond. Captain, should I pursue what? Are you requesting hyperspace clearance so that you may pursue the fugitive?
Yes, Commander.
Then you must say that, Captain, in request form.
Requesting hyperspace clearance to pursue the fugitive, sir.
Thank you. Request acknowledged. Await response.
Interior Vogon headquarters continues.
Bring me the request to pursue fugitive forms.
The war room is silent. We hear the sound of running above. The footsteps hurry all the way around. We hear a door open, running up more steps along the corridor until finally an exhausted Vogon messenger bursts through the door holding a blue form. Questular shakes his head in disbelief as quotes signs the request form.
This is ridiculous. What do you need? An executive order? Fine, I order you. Stop doing this. Go and get him. According to subsection 94B, paragraph 2, you're not authorized to make such an order. But I'm acting president. Then act like a president and do nothing.
Waltz continues to fill out the forms. Questular grabs the sides of her head and pulls her hair. Cut to exterior Vilta 6 spaceport night. All we can see are the lights of the Heart of Gold entry ramp cutting through a dense fog. Or is it fog? Zaphod's second head is up as he comes down the ramp ahead of the other.
Homokamula!
Back a few steps with Arthur, Trillian, and Ford.
Why does he keep saying that?
I don't know. I'm not used to seeing him this way.
You mean fully clothed?
She stops, fires him a look.
Sorry, but I can't for the life of me figure out why you, the most brilliant woman I've ever met, have ended up with a half-witted, self-obsessed, vapid politician. I mean, look at it.
He squints through the fog at Zaphod. Head 2 out. His hands keep trying to get it down, but the third arm keeps whacking them away. He disappears into the fog.
Clearly, unlike any guy I've ever met. Look, if you're going to pout your way around space, then maybe you should just go home.
I can't. That's the whole point. And I've been trying to tell you.
Can't hear you, Ford. Ford, you're muted.
Hey, look what I found in the guide.
He hands the guide to Trillian. She keeps walking.
I wouldn't tell her if I were you.
She deserves to know.
Yeah, but if you tell her and she ends up with you because you're literally the last guy on Earth, you'll always doubt her intentions.
Arthur considers this and nods.
It's all.
Do I need it?
Only always.
Ford puts his towel to his mouth as they follow Trillian down the mist-covered streets. She's reading the guide.
In the beginning, the universe was created. This made a lot of people very angry and has been widely regarded as a bad move.
Zaphod continues several steps ahead of them.
Many races believe that it was created by some sort of god. Through the Jartravid, people of the Vilta 6 firmly believe that the entire universe was in fact sneezed out of the nose of a being called the Great Green Arkelseizure. The Jartravids, who live in perpetual fear of a time they call the coming of the Great White Handkerchief, are small blue creatures with more than 50 arms each, who are therefore unique in being the only race in history to have invented the aerosol deodorant before the wheel.
Homokamula!
Zaphod's 2 arms shove his chin back down.
I'll handle this.
Exterior city street, Viltvold. The others approach, watching Zaphod as he stops passing an 8-armed alien creature. Ask him something, oozing charm. The creature points down the street with 3 arms, then with 2 other hands, him a pen and paper. Saffold signs an autograph and moves on. The alien beams, then squints 3 cans of aerosol under several arms. More mist rises, follows it up, revealing a large building, a temple with 2 giant arches. The others follow. The camera tilts up and we see this building looks like a nose lying horizontally. The giant arches are the nostrils. Interior, Archseizure Temple, continuous. Saffold opens the huge doors inside the large nostril arches. A rush of air blows the mist past forward, Trillian and Arthur a few steps behind. They stop. Congregation of worshippers face front where Humakula stands behind a podium. He's a humanoid wearing a white robe and night vision sunglasses.
The handkerchief is coming, beloveds. Are you ready? Let us pray that the Almighty will exhale a breath of compassion on us.
Instead of bowing, they all point their nose upwards. Saffold marches down the center aisle while Huma prays.
Almighty Archseizure, we lift our noses, clogged and unblown in reverence to you.
Saffold stops a few feet away from Huma's chair.
Hello, Huma.
That's Hamakavulu. I thought he was just using a swear word.
Hamagavula was his opponent in the election. Something happened during the campaign. Safad never forgave him.
What was it?
Hort shrugs. Huma looks up, sees Saffold, smiles.
Send the handkerchief, Lord, so that it may wipe us clean. We ask this in your precious holy name.
Congression all sneeze. Akin to crossing himself, Huma raises a hand to his nose, then down again.
Bless you.
Cut to interior Huma's quarters, continuous. Huma's quarters are good. He sits behind his desk, flanked by several armed bodyguards. Ford, Arthur, and Trillian keep a safe distance as Saffold faces off with Huma, who has the air of a cool news anchor man.
Safad Beeblebrox, our famous president. Our Archseizure has exhaled many blessings upon you. What brings you to our humble planet?
I think you know why I'm here.
I don't think I do.
Oh, I think you don't, but we both know you do.
Eloquent as always, Zapod. Your ability to articulate never ceases to amaze.
Head 2 suddenly springs up, to the surprise of all.
You call me stupid!
Interesting. And I don't know what you're talking about.
During the campaign, Huma, you said I was stupid.
This Hama you speak of no longer exists. He came here in this consolation position as ambassador to Gamma Z10 to squelch an ideological threat to the system and repented from his wicked ways. He now goes by the holy name Tezello, the unceasingly righteous, given to him by his devoted followers.
I don't care what you call yourself, you righteous freak. You start a rumor I'm stupid, you're gonna pay.
The third arm reaches for a gun in Saffold's face. The bodyguards aim their weapons. One runs up and smacks Saffold in the back of the head, slamming head 2 back in place.
Thank you.
The third arm disappears. The gun falls. The bodyguard picks it up.
Why do I get the feeling he's going to get us all killed?
Probably because it's very possible. Just don't save me, okay? We're even.
Huma lays his palms on the table and lifts himself as he stands. But there is nothing of him below the table line, except for 31-inch metal legs attached to the base of his torso. He glides towards Saffold, the little legs extending to reach the floor as he reaches the end of the table.
The election is ancient history, Zapod. But if memory serves, you won, proving that good looks and charm win over brilliance and ability to govern.
A guard drapes a white robe over Huma's shoulders, which he ties with a belt, hiding his peculiar undercarriage.
And incidentally, you are stupid.
His head jerks up. Saffold stops it, paints on a smile.
That's really not the point.
You haven't come halfway across the galaxy to settle a campaign grudge? Why are you even here, Zaphod?
Eva doesn't answer. Human motions to a guard who grabs his arm, twists it hard.
I don't know. I was heading for Magrathea. We ended up here.
Push in on Huma, who raises his high-tech sunglasses to reveal two small sunken black holes where a pair of eyes should be.
How very, very improbable.
He pulls the nose off his bodyguard, turns a key, a secret safe door slides open from the man's chest.
I kept a few souvenirs from my former life. Ah, the heady days of space piracy. So young, so foolish.
Another smaller box rises from the chest cabinet. Inside we see glowing jewels, a skeleton hand, etc. Huma removes a pink cube, like Zephyr's cube.
I'll gladly give you the coordinates to Magrathea.
He holds up the pink cube, revealing a series of coordinate numbers on each side. Zaphod reaches for it. Huma takes it back.
Provided you bring me something in return.
What?
A gun.
A gun?
Very special gun, designed by the greatest computer ever invented. Now buried in the bowels of Magrathea.
Fine. I'll get your gun. Just give me your coordinates.
Zaphod reaches out. Huma pulls it back.
And what will you give me to ensure your return?
My word as president.
Ha! I'd be better off with the dung of a Bethawanian Mako donkey.
All right, I'll get you that.
No, I need a hostage, something you hold dear. Only what does Zaphod Beeblebrox treasure?
On Zaphod's second head, peeping out of the collar, looking terrified, Huma smiles. Bingo. He signals the guards. They grab Zaphod, who looks back to Trillian, offers a weak smile. Smash cut to interior Huma's operating theater later. Very fast scene. 2 seconds. Zaphod's second head screams.
No!
Pulls back to see it being lifted out of Zaphod's neck. Zaphod's unconscious on the operating table, blood and instruments everywhere. Interior Huma Kavula's room later. Zaphod's head hang on the wall. Wires feed out of the neck into a huge machine. Beneath the head is a crude drawing of a body and the words, "I'm what's stupid." An arrow points to Zaphod's head too, which is shouting,
Idiot! You Zarky moron, come back! You need me! Come back!
You should quit while you're ahead, Zaphod. No one has ever gotten past the Magrathean defense system alive. Ha 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 ha!
exterior built Vault 6 Main Street night. Zaphod, held aloft on Ford and Arthur's shoulder, staggers down the street towards the spaceport, where the Heart of Gold is parked. His neck is wrapped with a blood-soaked bandage, which looks like a scarlet ascot.
Are we sure this is the right way?
Yes. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yes, thank you for clearing that up.
Ford looks puzzled at Arthur. Did I clear it up? A crowd has gathered. When they see Zaphod, they scream.
Mr. President!
Zaphod!
I want to have your baby!
Zaphod, still feeling the effects of whatever drugs he was given, dons a presidential smile and waves.
This should happen quickly.
They quicken their pace, then suddenly, 50 Vogon police emerge from the mist.
Mr. President, we are here for your protection.
Zaphod, Ford, Trillian, and Arthur freeze in their tracks. Waltz and Cressler watch the action on the front screen.
Fire upon the kidnapper!
Exterior Main Street, the police fire. Ford, Trillian, and Arthur run for it, but Zaphod stays put.
Zarkon, friendly fire! That's what they want.
He pulls out his gun and fires back.
Hey, let's do lunch. Nice haircut, fella. Hey, your kids are the same age as mine. We should get them together sometime. All right.
With each line he fires, Ford grabs him. Shots hit a stack of aerosol cans. They explode. More mist rises. Interior Vogon headquarters.
Commander, the president is the kidnapper. Cease fire!
Behind the kiosk, the gang run down an alley and hide behind a kiosk. Saffron sports a goofy smile. Arthur is scared to death.
Oh God, I really hate Thursdays.
Safe out. What do we do?
Build bridges between the stars.
What?
I think that was his campaign slogan.
Trillian finds a deodorant can, grabs it, gets an idea.
All right, follow me.
She aims the can at Sappho's ear. Arthur's face registers the madness of the moment.
There they are!
On screen, Trillian with aerosol can to Sappho's ear moves down the street. The crowd gasps. The court continues anxiously forward, eyeing the police whose guns track their every move.
Back off, or I'll kill him. I swear I will.
Quatz looks confused.
Could that actually kill him?
The police step backwards, but the crowd takes a step forward. A hurdle of female admirers rush them, waving pens and papers as if the Beatles have arrived.
Hey, all right.
Sappho paints on a smile, breaks away from the others to go sign a few autographs.
Oh.
What was that? All right.
Totally voted for you.
Thank you.
Reveals that the female fans are actually a multi-head, two-legged groupie. On Pressier and Qualtz.
Get her!
Chaos. The Wallasey Vogan police swarm in like maggots, surrounding Trillian and edging Ford and Arthur away.
Resistance is useless.
Shots are fired. The crowd screams and scatters. Arthur reaches for Trillian, but she is engulfed by Vogan, who move en masse and pull her away into the mist.
Trisha!
Ford with Sappho in tow shoves Arthur forward, using his towel to clear a path through the mist. They see the Heart of Gold ramp descending from the belly of the ship.
This way!
No, Trisha!
Shots fire all around them as Ford pushes Sappho and Arthur up the ramp. Interior Vogon headquarters night. Quisler and Qualtz watch the monitors as Vogon police usher Trillian in futuristic handcuffs past the Vogon captain who stands in the foreground on his ship.
Bring her to Vogsphere for processing, Captain.
The captain nods. The screen goes black.
They're coming here, but they've only accomplished half the mission. What about Zaphod? My instructions were clear.
From a slot in his chair, he pulls his instructions. Side in triplicate, of course, he reads,
Apprehend the kidnapper, rescue the president. We do them in that order. And until the kidnapper is properly processed, she isn't officially apprehended now, is she, Mr. Vice President?
Wrestler pulls on her hair again. Cut to interior Heart of Gold bridge continues. Ford and Arthur drag Zaphod into the bridge. On the front screen, they can see the Vogon ships flying away.
We have to go. Let's go.
Right.
Looking strangely happy, he slides a pink coordinated cube Huma gave him into the slot on the console.
Computer, take us to Magathea.
What? No, follow the ships.
Arthur lunges for a control. Zaphod wizardly tries to stop him. There's a struggle. Then Zaphod realizes,
Hey, my third arm. I had one, didn't I?
We have to go after her.
the computer fires to life, bleeps and blips. Only now it has an effeminate, almost matriarchal voice.
Boys, please, not so rough. You're damaging my joystick.
They all look at the source of the voice confused.
Who is that?
Ghastly, isn't it? If I asked to change the personality type, that was the emergency backup.
Now, if you want me to take you somewhere, we're going to have to start using your magic words. Please and thank you.
Can you change it back?
I can, but I won't enjoy it.
I'm waiting.
Arthur sees the Vogon ship getting away. Desperate, he shoves Zaphod out of the driver's seat. Zaphod hits the floor, considers protesting, lies down on the floor to sleep instead, with a contented smile. Arthur sits. He looks very out of the place in a seat normally reserved for the likes of Han Solo. He scans the console. Ford sits in the seats beside him.
Ford?
Marvin?
Don't look at me. I'm too depressed.
Computer, is there some kind of manual override switch thing?
Yes.
Well, where the hell is it?
Magic words.
Show me the override switch, or I'll reprogram you with a very large axe.
I can see this relationship is something we're all going to have to work at.
Bing, a chime sounds. A switch on the console illuminates manual overdrive. Arthur flips the switch. The cockpit is steel in a glass ball and shoots upwards. Exterior heart of gold night. The cockpit bubbles pops out like an ejector seat. Now a little glass pod. It floats through space, then weird thrusters ignite and blast the ship forward. Interior heart of gold bridge pod continuous. An aircraft steering wheel rises up between Arthur's legs. He grabs it, spinning out of control.
I think I should push this button.
Ford pushes a big button. An alarm sounds.
What's that? What happened?
A sign lit up saying, please do not push this button again.
Arthur grabs the control. Does this best to steer. Exterior space night. The glass pod streaks unsteadily towards a dull gray planet. Exterior Vogsphere day. The rectangular ship sits on the surface as police escort Trillian off in and into a gray rectangular building. The ground is barren. A scintillatingly jeweled crab crawls out of a swamp and looks up at the sky. We hear the sound of a pod approaching, but hold on the crab. As the crab runs back into the ground swamp. Pans left to see the pod rammed into the ground, steam rising. The door opens, the three emerge.
Wow.
I know. Dreadful, isn't it?
Sorry about the landing. Where are we?
Megathea!
Wrong. This is a Vogon planet. This is Vogsphere.
No, it's Megathea! I know it!
Ford reaches in his satchel, pulls out a sort of electronic helmet, pulls it snugly onto Zaphod's head. At the top of the helmet is what looks like an electronic juicer. Ford pulls a lemon half out of his jacket and puts it in the juicer. As the lemon juice powers the helmet, Zaphod suddenly seems more aware.
Yeah, a little something I learned on an Altarian Star Cruiser. Captains used it when they really need to concentrate.
What is it?
A thinking cap.
Zaphod squints hard to think as he looks around. Exterior Bog City. Their point of view, there are rows and rows of dull gray rectangular buildings as far as an eye can see. The three men and Marvin step out of the ship.
This will all end in tears. I just know it.
Yeah, I checked the guide for ways to rescue a prisoner from Vogsphere. Said don't. I'm assuming your plan's better?
Well, I sort of had this idea we could...
Telescopic wad with a paddle at the top shoots out of the ground, smacks Arthur on the face, then retracts. Arthur is stunned. None of the others have noticed.
Did anyone see that?
See what?
They look at Arthur. It subtly seems ridiculous.
Nothing.
They all walk along, Arthur at the back, perplexed.
What was it?
Nothing. Just my imagination.
Another paddle springs up, double smacks in the face. Arthur leaps back, looks down, nothing. Nothing at all.
All right, stop. Everyone stop and watch me. Something's happening.
They watch. Arthur walks and walks.
Okay, I think we...
A paddle springs up and smacks Ford's face.
Ah!
He leaps back, clutching his cheeks. Arthur spins around.
You too?
Yeah, what was that?
Arthur lifts his feet very carefully.
I.
Stops himself and looks around.
What do you think, Zephyr?
Zaffel pulls his thinking cap down, thinks hard.
I think we should. Ah!
Shadow shoots up, smacks him in the face. They all saw.
What the blazes was that?
I have an idea.
A paddle shoots up. Ford ducks. It misses. He grabs it. Got thick stalk. It flashes his hands. It breaks it.
Okay. Don't think of anything. Don't have any ideas or theories. Nothing.
A beat. They all strain and think of nothing. Several paddles shoot up, smacking them.
I can't help it. Trillian is in there somewhere, and we need an idea to save her.
I have an idea. Ah! Run!
For the politician.
They take off running. A forest of paddle stalk erupts out of the ground around them, smacking violently. They come to the rest at the side of a Vogan building.
Okay, so not thinking, no ideas coming. This is by no means an idea that has any merit, but Marvin, can you give me a hand?
Smash cut to interior Vogan administration building. Day. The dullest office environment ever. A counter with few Vogons behind it, mindlessly moving bits of paper around. The front door bursts open. Arthur storms through them, holding Marvin's arm, which has the fingers pointed like a gun. He trips, falls down the arm, picks it up again, trying hard to look through. Ford and Zafford follow. Zafford wearing the thinking cap and sunglasses for disguise. Ford wearing his towel over his face like a bandit. Vogons look up, nonplussed.
All right, where is she?
Who? The director of robot arm repair? Next building out the door to the left.
Arthur looks at the arm, then slowly lowers it.
Actually, we're looking for someone you're detaining, perhaps in some form of incarceration.
Prisoner release department, 6 buildings down, out the door, right, left, then 2 rights, big gray building, can't miss it.
Cut to interior prison processing building, interrogation room day. Trillian is seated beside a desk while a Vogon officer asks her questions. Qualtz and Questler stand nearby.
Name?
Trillian.
He types into his ancient-looking computer.
Not registered.
Try Trisha McMillan.
Trisha Yagerstuck McMinnis of Blood.
No. Trisha Imogen McMillan of Earth.
Officer types, checks his screen, shakes his head. On Qualtz and Questler, looking at her through two-way mirror.
She's lying. She's skinny and she's pretty and she's obviously lying.
Qualtz looks at her perplexed. Back on the Vogan officer questioning Trillian.
Sorry.
Earth in the Milky Way. Galactic sector ZZ9 plural Z alpha.
The Vogan officer types, reads from the screen.
You're really hard to hear.
Here it is, Earth destroyed. You have a second home planet.
Push in on Trillian, gutted by the news.
Destroyed? No. That's impossible.
Say here it was destroyed to make way for a hyperspace expressway. The order was given 3 weeks ago.
Who in their right mind gives an order to destroy a planet?
Exterior administration building velocity. Saffold walking with Ford and Arthur.
You said the gray building, right?
Their POVs. All the buildings are gray. Arthur sees 2 Vogan police escorting someone in handcuffs into one of the buildings.
There, that's it, this way.
He raises Marvin's arm, pointing the fingers. Interior Prisoner Processing Building main room continues. A, F, and Z enter the double doors, then stop short, stunned. Their POVs, a typical government pick a number and wait sort of room. Bland, bad lighting, numbered windows. It's packed with all manners of species.
Leave this to me. I'm British. I know how to queue.
He confidently takes a number and gets in line with the several hundred others, feeling very much at home. Interior, Prisoner Processing Building interrogation room. Trillian sits at the officer's desk, arms folded.
I don't believe you. This is some sort of trick. Daffod wouldn't blow up a planet, especially mine.
Quartz now steps forward and extends a piece of paper.
These are the orders.
Trillian takes the paper, runs her fingers down to the signature line where it reads, "Love and kisses, Zaffod."
Love and kisses?
She hands the paper back, swallowing emotion.
Now, according to Section 8, subsection 34-A, the punishment for kidnapping is a recitation of the classic poem, Ode to the Removal of Your Left Kidney, unless said kidnapping is of the president, in which case you are to be fed to the ravenous bug bladder beast of Trawl. We thank you for your cooperation.
A door is open, revealing a room with a large steel box. A huge, angry eye stares out a tiny barred window. The box shakes like crazy. Trillian gulps. Interior Prison Processing Building main room continues. Zaffod is in line with Arthur and Ford. He looks up to a presidential photograph of himself in suit and tie, smiling boldly. He lowers his thinking cap.
Next.
Arthur steps up, followed by Ford and Zaffod, who keeps his head low and bowed.
Yes, hi. We're here about getting a prisoner released.
Prisoner release form.
She holds out her hand. Arthur doesn't have a form. Annoyed, she points across the room to a wall that is nothing but shelves holding forms.
Right. Once I've filled it out, can I return it to the front of the line, seeing as I've already waited?
No. Next.
Arthur sighs, frustrated. All three of them walk to the shelves holding the forms. Arthur turns to Zaffod.
Can't you do anything? You're president, aren't you?
You want me to make a speech, shake a hand? That's what I do, I think. Still a little fuzzy.
Arthur angrily fills out the form. Moments later, Arthur's in the back line. Having waited a long time, he finally gets to the window, handed the green form to the Vogan processor. She types into the computer, then checks the screen.
This prisoner is being detained for kidnapping the president. She's not eligible for release at this time. You can make an appointment for a later date or take a number and wait.
Arthur's breathing quickens. He can't take it.
All right, look. This is the president.
She looks at Zaffod, then backs at the large portrait of Zaffod, then back to Zaffod. She nods. Okay.
He says the whole kidnapping thing was a terrible misunderstanding. She didn't mean anything by it, and he's ordering you to let her go.
But this isn't a presidential release form or prisoner form. Those are blue.
She points to the wall of forms. Arthur sighs. Quick cut back to Trillian. Trillian is lowered into the bug spotter beast box cage. We cannot see the beast, but it screams of hungers or scar the hills of the Trillian. Back to Arthur, who returns, practically shoving Zaffod forward. Zaffod hands the Vogan processor the blue form.
Okay.
She reviews the form, stamps it, pulls out the carbon copy underneath, and hands it back to Zaffod.
Go to the prisoner release lobby, out the door, right, left, second door on the right.
Back with Trillian. As she braces herself to be eaten by the monster, suddenly a couple of guards enter and hand Quartz a blue piece of paper. He reviews it, then signs it.
You're free to go. Release her.
The Vogan guards pull Trillian up and out of the box on a cable. The bug splatter beast goes berserk.
What? He's here? Zaffod is here? Let's go get him.
But the guard is quickly escorting Trillian out of the room. Quartz is completing paperwork.
Commander.
Qualls holds up a walrusy hand, one finger raised, silencing Questler, while he continues. Questler sighs. He hears the bug splatter beast weeping as the doors are closed on him. Cut to interior prisoner release lobby continues. A guard escorts Trillian into the lobby where F, A, and Z await. Arthur steps towards her, but Zapple steps in front of him, smiling, arms outreach. Trillian walks up to Zapple and slaps him.
You bastard! You signed the order to destroy Earth.
He did?
I did?
Love and kisses, Zaphoid. I saw the form. You didn't even read it, did you?
Honey, I'm president of the galaxy. I don't get a lot of time for reading.
An entire planet, Zaphoid. My home gone. All because you thought someone wanted your autograph.
She slaps him again and storms away, bursting out the door.
Hey, they framed me. It's your team for controlling presidents.
Interior prisoner interrogation room continues. Qualls finishes his paperwork, stacks it neatly, holds it up for Questler to see.
Cancellation of the rescue of the president.
He hands it to a messenger who ones off. Another one ones up.
Now, get me the apprehension of the president form.
Exterior prisoner processing building continues. Trillian storms away from the building in rage. She sees a one-armed Marvin standing by the glass pod. She sheds for him. Arthur catches up to her.
Trillian.
You knew. Why didn't you tell me?
I tried multiple times. Also, he threatened me.
Get a backbone, Arthur.
She storms ahead of him. He stops.
What about coming here to rescue you? That was my brilliant idea.
A paddle shoots up and slaps him in the face. Prisoner processing building moments later. Qualls and Kessler, flanked by the Vogon police force, step out of the building just in time to see the glass heart of gold pod soaring overhead. They all watch as it disappears from sight.
The president tests my patience. This time I shall pursue him myself. Ready my ship. Yes, this is more like it.
Smash cut to exterior space night. The pod is reacting to the heart of gold, which soars through the stars. Interior heart of gold bridge night. They're all getting buckled into their seats.
Hi, fellas. Hold on to your hats.
Eddie, welcome back.
The ship suddenly blasts forward. Their heads are slammed back to their seats as they vibrate violently.
What's happening, Zaphod? Where did you tell it to go?
I didn't say anything.
Arthur looks to the consoles and sees two mice sliding across it. Getting thrown across the ship, they continue to vibrate even more violently.
Attach this thing the right way.
Zappold is all smiles, hanging on as if he were on a roller coaster ride.
Isn't it great? Woo!
Deep space. HOG is but a blur as it streaks along. Back to the HOG later. Stars appear on the screen as they slow from hyperspace.
Guys, I'm just super happy to tell you we're approaching hyperspace exit gamma Z8B530.
Arthur steadies himself, turns to Trillian, who's still staring forward, angry. She unbuckles her seatbelt and moves away from the console. A planet appears on screen. Zappold and Ford lean forward.
Okay, that's it, I think. Computer, is that where we headed again?
Yeah.
Hang on, fella, and I'll check.
Arthur turns to look over at Trillian, who stares at a portal window into the emptiness of space. A tear rolls down her cheek. Arthur steps up, isn't sure what to say.
Look, you're right. You deserve to know, and I should have told you. I don't blame you if you're angry. I just wanted to say that if I had gone with you back on Earth, we wouldn't be here now, alive.
She turns and stares, wipe the tears away, can't speak.
Right. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Guys, it just tickles my pink to tell you we are currently in orbit at an altitude of 300 miles around the legendary planet of Magrathea. Golly.
Hearing this news, Arthur, Trillian, and Ford turn.
Take us in.
Exterior night deep space. Magathea. They all stare in awe as they move towards a planet which gets closer and closer. Suddenly, their faces are awash with light. 2 suns rise behind the planet. It's breathtaking.
The twin sons of Solanus and Ra.
Marvin, both arms intact, rises in the back, peers out.
Incredible. It's even worse than I thought it would be.
Suddenly, a ghastly white swirl of light, vaguely in the shape of a man, appears on the screen before them.
Greetings. This is a recorded announcement as we're all out at the moment. The Commercial Council of Magathea thanks you for your esteemed visit, but regrets that the entire planet is temporarily closed for business. If you'd like to leave your name and a planet where you can be contacted, kindly do so at the tone.
Beep. Then sun stows.
Closed. How can a planet be closed?
For once, Aldous, I agree with you. Okay, computer, keep going. Take us down.
I'd be happy to.
The ship aises forward. The image appears again.
It is most gratifying that your enthusiasm for our planet continues unabated. As a token of our appreciation, we hope you will enjoy the 2 thermonuclear missiles we've sent to converge with your craft. To ensure ongoing quality of service, your depth may be monitored for training purposes. Thank you.
The image vanishes a beat. Then,
Guys, I'm delighted to tell you that there are 2 thermonuclear missiles headed right for us. Should I take evasive action?
the screens show 2 huge rockets thundering at us. Sappho just smiles. Ford steps up.
Yes, computer, evade.
Massive acceleration. An illuminated dome lowers from the ceiling over the crew's seats, creating a safety pod. Exterior above Magathea. Dawn. The heart of gold streaks away. 2 large missiles follow and mimics HOG's every move. Interior of the bridge continuous. The crew are thrown from one side of the pod to the other.
There seems to be something jamming my guidance systems. Impact minus 45 seconds.
Exterior sky over Magathea continues. HOG streaks forward. The missiles are gaining.
Computer, do something.
Sure thing, fella. Handing over manual control. Good luck.
Big swell of music. The ship drops like a stone. The missiles miss, then turn in a screeching curve. Interior, the safety pod. Sappho tries to wrestle with 3 contacts.
I can't do this without my other arm.
The HOG spirals wildly, missiles narrowly missing. In the safety pod, everyone is thrown. In the sky, the missiles are dead ahead, shooting straight for us. In the safety pod,
Did we lose them?
No, they're right behind us.
he looks down, sees the improbability drive button.
Look, why don't I just hit this thing?
No, we're here. No telling where it'll send us.
In the sky, the missiles turn and accelerate high into the sky. A second set of boosters kick in on the missiles, and they soar back towards HOG, much faster. On the bridge, they all stare at the approaching missiles. Arthur looks at the drive button. He flips open the glass lid.
Oh, sod it all.
No!
Too late, Arthur hits the button. Lights blast through the bridge, morphing madness. Exterior space night. Empty for a moment, then the heart of gold performs. A few beats later, a sperm whale floats into frame, followed by a bowl of petunias. Interior of the bridge, night. Sits back into the shape of chaos. The safety dome rises, revealing our heroes standing in the exact same place they were, dazed.
We have normality.
We can talk about normality until the cows come home.
What is normal?
What is home?
What are cows?
Where are we?
Exactly where we were, I think.
And the missiles?
I've apparently turned into a bowl of petunias. And a very surprised looking whale.
He points to the screen. The whales and petunias float by.
At an improbability factor of 8,767,128 to 1 against.
They all look into Arthur, who shrugs. Sappho nods his approval. Ford continues on his fingers. Are they even? He waves it off, gives Arthur a little salute, and moves on. Trillian looks to Arthur and musters a smile.
I could really use a cup of tea.
Exterior space night. HOG arches away. The whale in midair stops, rising, starts falling.
It is important to note that suddenly, against all probability, a sperm whale had been called into existence several miles above the surface of an alien planet. And since it is not a naturally tenable position for a whale, this innocent creature had very little time to come to terms with its identity as a whale before it then had to come to terms with its suddenly not being a whale anymore. This is what it thought as it fell.
The camera moves around the whale as it falls.
Oh, what's happening? Excuse me. Who am I? Hello, why am I here? What's my purpose in life? What do I mean by who am I? What is this I that I want to know what it is? Calm down, get a grip now. Oh, this is an interesting sensation. Oh, this is an interesting sensation. What is it? It's a sort of yawning, tingling sensation. And well, I suppose I better start finding a name for things if I want to get any headway. But for the sake of I should call an argument, I shall call the world. So let's call it my stomach. Oh, good. Oh, it's getting quite strong now. And hey, what's this whistling, roaring sound going past what I'm suddenly going to call my head? Perhaps I could call that wind. Yeah, is that a good name? Oh, it'll do. Perhaps I could give it a better name later when I found out what it's for. But it must be very important because there certainly seems to be an awful lot of it. Hey, what's this thing? Let's call it a tail. Yeah, a tail.
Will trots his tail. Between the camera and the whale drops the bowl of petunias. It falls from sight.
Hey, I can really thrash it about pretty good, can't I? Wow, doesn't seem to achieve much, but I'll probably find out what it's for later on. Now, have I built up a coherent picture of things yet? No? Never mind. Hey, this is really exciting. So much to find out about, so much to look forward to. I'm quite dizzy with anticipation. Or is it the wind? There is an awful lot of that now, isn't there?
Its eyes tries to look down. Camera pulls back from the whale, abandoning it.
And hey, what's this thing suddenly coming towards me so fast, so big and flat and round? It needs a big, wide sounding name like ow, ound, round, ground. That's it, ground. I wonder if it'll be friends with me. Hello, ground.
You hear a sickling thud off screen.
Curiously, the only thing that went through the mind of the bowl of petunias as it fell was, oh no, not again.
We hear the petunia vase shattering.
Many have speculated that if we knew why the bowl of petunias had thought that, we would know a lot more about the nature of the universe than we do now.
Dissolve to exterior heart of gold, Agathea's surface day. The gang stand by a huge crater. The HOG parked in the background. A large whale carcass sits in the middle of it, along with a few petunias. They all graze. Beyond the crater, they see a formation of large rocks in a circle. It's the only structure in sight. They walk towards it. Exterior walk formation day. Arthur walks behind the others, his head down.
This looks familiar.
Arthur looks up, registers surprise. The rock formation looks like Stonehenge, only newer. The rock's letters carved into and reads Design Department, Showroom, Executive Office, Toilets.
Must be portal doors.
You mean the hippies were right?
In the middle of the circle sits a stone receptionist desk with a sign on it that says, Out to lunch. Sapwood heads for the two design department stone. Trillian and Ford follows. Sapwood feels around it, looking for a switch, a knob, anything. He must have hit something because the front of the stone suddenly slides open, revealing a swirling vortex that looks like a jet engine made of glass.
Okay, here we go.
What? Are you out of what's left of your mind? We can't step into that.
You gotta pick. We gotta pick one, right? If it's not the right one, we come back here and pick another. No biggie.
Yes, no biggie. What if that's the last door we ever stepped through? What if it rips us into tiny little atomic particle thingies?
Trillian, who hasn't said a word since leaving Sphere, covers her ears, trying to block them out.
It's the right one. I have a hunch.
Ford?
He's got good hunches. I say we go.
Go with the hunch of a narcissist with a half a brain, and who said brain is fueled by lemons. Are you insane?
Hey, I think I resent that.
You care what you think?
They all start arguing over each other. We focus on Trillian, anger and frustration building. She covers her ears, then screams. And she takes off running for the door. Suicide? Bravery? They turn just in time to see her jump into the vortex. She yelps as her body is bent in half, twisted like a bug, then sucked inside. Arthur is horrified, literally gasping for air. Ford is semi-impressed. Sappho unfazed.
That's supposed to happen, I think.
Ford shrugs, throws his towel around his neck like a scarf, and dives through. Same thing, bent and twisted.
Hey, wait for me!
He runs after Ford, stops at the door, turns like he's about to board Air Force One, gives a salute, and jumps in. Arthur finally gets his legs to move, step forward, but hesitates as the trestle paralyzed with fear, unable to take a step. Then, the door seals shut.
No, no, no!
He bangs on the stone, slides his hand around like Zaffo did, desperate looking for a way to open it. He collapses and buries his head in his hands.
I told you this would all end in tears.
Cut to exterior Temple of Deep Thought moments later. Ford stands outside a stone doorway at the end of a cobblestone street. Zaffle's body falls to the ground next to him. Untwists, unbent, and snaps bolt upright beside them. Trillian is already heading down the street towards the temple. Ford and Zaffle hurry to catch up with her. Exterior walk formation day. Arthur sits with his back against the stone, staring across the field of beautiful double sunset. He looks over to see the two mice from the ship, scurrying towards one of the giant stone doors. They slip through a crack beneath the stone. A flash of light bursts through the crack. Arthur barely reacts, so drained by emotion.
Life's full of paradoxes, isn't it?
Don't talk to me about life.
Here I am, God knows how far from home.
Don't talk to me about God.
And this is where I see the most spectacular sunset I've ever laid eyes on. I actually had the one sun at home, planet called Earth.
I know. You keep going on about it. It sounds awful.
Oh no, it's beautiful. Or at least it was.
Did it have oceans?
Yes, great, wide, rolling blue oceans.
I can't bear oceans.
So this is how it will all end, then. Me on a dead planet with a maniacally depressed robot.
You think you've got problems? What are you supposed to do if you are a manically depressed robot? No, don't bother to answer that. I'm 50,000 times more intelligent than you, and even I don't know the answer. It gives her a headache just trying to think down to your level.
Excuse me.
Arthur spins to see an old bearded man in long robes.
Ah,
He jumps, crab walk backwards away from the man.
who are you?
My name is not important. You must come with me. Terrible events are afoot. You must come or you'll be late.
Late? What for?
What is your name, Earthman?
Dent. Arthur Dent.
Late is in the late 1013. It's a sort of threat, you see. Never been much good at them myself, but I'm told they can be terribly effective. Your friends are safe. You can trust me.
Trust a man who won't tell me his name?
My name? Very well. My name is Slarted Barfast.
Arthur reacts with a furrowed brow.
I said it wasn't important.
Slarty Barfast motions to a door. He looks to Marvin.
I could calculate your chances of survival, but you won't like it.
Arthur rises, cautiously moves over to Slarty's side.
I must warn you, we're about to pass through, well, sort of a gateway thing. It may disturb you. It scares the willies out of me.
He puts his hand on a certain spot on the stone and presses. The stone dissolves, revealing once again the jet engine swirling vortex. Slarty motions. After you. Arthur takes a deep breath and steps in.
Ah!
He is bent, twisted, and sucked away. Slarty follows. Marvin stands for a moment, then looks up to the sky, where the fleet of Vogon ships have now arrived.
Funny. How just when you think life can't possibly get any worse, it definitely does.
Interior Vogon destroyer ship bridge night. Qualt sits in his chair. As they press forward, the ghostly image of the recorded message appears.
This is a recorded announcement, as we're all out at the moment. The Commercial Council of Magrathea thanks you for your...
Turn that off.
Cut to Interior Magathea Planet Showroom Day. Arthur is hunched over a litter bin, barfing.
I told you you might find it a bit disturbing.
I have found this whole day a bit disturbing.
Arthur realizes he has his towel with him. He wipes his mouth with it, dabs his brow, then he notices the room, which is like a car dealer showroom, only instead of cars, there are models of various planets.
Did you know that we built planets? Fascinating trade. Doing the coastlines was always my favorite. Used to have endless fun doing all the little fiddly bits round fjords, but the galactic economy collapsed, and seeing that custom-built planets are something of a luxury commodity. At any rate, there's been a terrible mix-up with your planet. You must come with me, or it's all going to blow up in our faces. The best laid plans of mice, you know.
And men?
What?
The best laid plans of mice and men.
I don't think men have got much to do with it.
Arthur looks confused. Slarty motions him to a door. Arthur readies his towel at his mouth as Slarty hits a button. The door slides open and nothing happens. It's just a door that leads to a room where several transport carts move past. Like a kid ride at Disneyland. They step into one. Slarty closes the little door. The cart moves through a curtain out into deep space. Pulls back till the cart is no more than a speck being pushed forward by the longest telescoping arm in history. Interior Planet Factory Night. The space is millions of miles across. Floating in it are half-finished planets, construction gantries around them.
Welcome to our factory floor.
On Arthur, who is positively blown away. Cut to Interior Temple of Deep Thought continues. Ford, Zaffel, and Trillian enter the dimly lit temple. They hear a faint, tinny sound. They follow it. Further down the corridor, the sound gets louder. Tinny music and laughter. Flickering light illuminates the end of the corridor.
This is it.
He quickens his pace. Trillian and Ford follows. They round the corner to find Deep Thought, sitting there majestically. Music emulates from somewhere near it. Sappho takes another step in and I just lost myself. Another step in and now sees the source of the music. Deep Thought is watching TV, a violent, stupid cartoon.
Deep Thought.
This is the good bit.
The cartoon continues. Sappho enters, removes his thinking cap, and rapidly approaches. He kneels.
Oh, great. Deep Thought. We have traveled long and far. Have you calculated the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything?
No,
No?
I've been watching TV.
Oh.
Sappho holds on a smile, but his world is slowly crumbling.
I designed another computer to perform that great task.
Oh, right. I forgot. Is he here?
Not here. Another world.
It's on another world.
It is another world, stupid. Or was.
Where?
Ask your companion.
Sappho turns to Ford. Ford looks confused.
Not him.
Sappho looks at Trillian. She looks equally confused. Sappho puts the thinking cap back on. Strains hard.
Okay, you sure you don't have a question or a way to, access it or something? I think I've done like a lot to get here.
Goes back on.
A robotic arm reaches out and turns up the volume. Sappho turns to Ford and Trillian, smiles that smile, but it's starting to look a little bit crazed.
Great. I'm just gonna go find someone else for my entire life to be about.
He starts to wander off. Ford grabs his arm.
Wait, Zaphod, the gun, the one Humma sent us for. We have to get it. You gave the guy your head.
Why did I do that?
He pulls his thinking cap down, all the way over his eyes. Ford rolls his eyes. Turn.
Deep thought. We were told you have a gun.
Before he finishes the sentence, a panel in the wall slides open to reveal a large, scary-looking gun. Robotic arm pushes it forward. Ford goes over, takes it, carries it like it's nitroglycerin to Zaphod, who's already walking away. Corridor leading away from Deep Thought, Ford hands Zaphod the gun.
Here, take it. I don't do guns.
Zaphod takes it with a smile.
Thanks. Hey, it was nice knowing you, Zarkenfrude.
And points it at his head. Ford lunges for it. There's a struggle. Ford trying to get Zaphod's fingers off the trigger. Then the trigger is pulled. Ford winces, but apparently nothing has happened.
Great, this is a bust too.
Hey, man, you must be really frustrated to go through all you did only to come here and get no answer, which means no fame and money, and you deserve that, man. Because you're great. You're really, really great.
Zaphod isn't sure what just happened, but he smiles anyways. Trillian, however, is onto something.
Give me that thing.
Back to Interior Magathea Planet Factory construction platform. The transport cart moves past 2 half-finished planets and on towards the 3rd planet. Construction gantries and clouds obscure our view.
The galaxy was a bit of a shambles, you see. Everyone enjoying themselves, being singers and comedians, and really creative and interesting things like that. No one doing the boring jobs.
Oh, you had that problem too?
In spades. So a species was genetically engineered to do the boring jobs. Tax inspectors, traffic wardens, government officials. We were commissioned to build a special planet for them. Problem was, some clever dick made it so every time any one of the creatures had an interesting idea, it would get a hefty smack around the face.
What? You did that? I've been there.
The cart lowers down towards the surface of the planet.
Then I gather you've met some of the inhabitants.
The Vogons.
Ugh, relentless blighters.
Back to Interior Corridor Temple of Deep Thought J. Close on Zaphod.
And you're right. I shouldn't be so upset because life goes on and I should just deal with it, right?
Pulls back to reveal Ford is hesitantly aiming the gun at Zaphod.
Shoot him again.
Ford reluctantly pulls the trigger.
Hitchhiking is good. Towels are good too.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I kind of like this.
She takes the gun from him.
A gun that makes people suddenly see things from your point of view. Useful tool for the deranged evangelists trying to convert the masses, eh?
She starts walking away.
We should get back. Arthur's waiting.
Who cares?
Who cares? I do. Especially since we're both somewhat of an endangered species now.
Why so edgy, baby doll?
Why so edgy? You want to know why I'm edgy?
She aims the gun.
Of course you're edgy. The planet's been blown up and you've been tooling around the galaxy with the guy who signed the order.
She shoots him again.
You actually wanted to know the question because you always thought there was more to life. And now you're crushed because you find out there really isn't. Woo!
She's getting angrier and more hurt.
You got no home, no family, no one to be with, and you're stuck with me, another in a long line of men who doesn't appreciate you or really get you. And you're worried that you might have blown it with the one guy who actually does. That's not true.
Hearing this puts a lump in her throat, causes her eyes to well with tears. She lowers the gun. Zaphod shakes his head. The effects are wearing off. He realized what he said and doesn't like it.
Give me that thing.
He grabs the gun and points it at her.
It won't affect me. I'm already a woman.
Before he can react, a bright light shines behind them. They turn, shielding their eyes.
Oh, hey, it's okay. It's just a couple of little
Flash, scout. They are engulfed in white light. Back to exterior deep space factory floor continuous. The transport cart continues towards the third planet.
Here we are then. Look familiar?
Arthur turns and looks. There before him is Earth. Arthur is thunderstruck, then confused.
So it wasn't destroyed.
Actually, it was. This is a backup, Earth Mark II.
So you're saying you made the Earth?
Well, no, not me alone. It was a group of effort. I did my part, though. Ever heard of a place? I think it's called Norway.
Arthur nods. The cart pushes through the clouds towards Ayers Walk. A guy on a ladder is painting in its familiar red color, some of it still primer gray.
That one was one of mine. Won an award, you know. Lovely crinkly edges. I was sorry to hear about it being blown up. Shocking cock-up. The mice were furious.
Mice? Who cares about bloody mice?
Are you a fan of plate tectonics?
Arthur looks up. Slarty Bart's fast. Points down. Another man pushes a button, causing mountains to spring up noisily.
Voila. Himalayans. Good, eh?
Arthur is working very hard to process all this. Jump cut, they move through a forest where man possesses a lever making several mushrooms pop up on the ground.
Earthman, you must realize that the planet you lived on was commissioned, paid for, and run by mice. It was destroyed shortly before the completion of the purpose for which it was built. 10 minutes later, we would have been free and clear, but we gave them our standard 10 million year warranty, and they've come here to retrieve this backup copy, and they've brought you with them.
The transport cart flies out of the forest towards the ocean.
They brought... I'm sorry, when you say mice, do you mean little white furry creatures with a cheese fixation?
These creatures you call mice are merely the protrusion into our dimension of hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings. The whole business with the cheese must have been a front. They were experimenting on you, you see, a vast computer program.
I see where you're confused. You see, we were experimenting on them.
Over the ocean, a perfect storm waves rolls towards them.
Oh, I gather they arranged for you to conduct some primitively staged experiments so they could prod your thinking here and there. But you were actually elements in the computer program. They really are very clever, hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings. They've nearly finished the oceans.
They move towards the white cliffs of Dover. A man stands on a cliff holding a giant hose, water spewing from it.
So, you're trying to tell me that mice designed and built Deep Thought, and Deep Thought designed the Earth, which was a giant supercomputer that you built to calculate the ultimate question. Only Vogons destroyed it 10 minutes before the program was completed.
That's bureaucracy for you.
Actually, this explains a lot. All my life, I've had this strange feeling that something was going on in the world, something big, something sinister.
That's just perfectly normal paranoia. Everyone in the universe has that.
Exterior Earth 2, English countryside continuous. ANS swooped down and soared over the English countryside, partially construction. Tall tree stalks with branch and leaves lying beside them, waiting to be attached. Men rolling out sod like a giant carpet, etc.
I don't know. Perhaps I'm old and tired, but I always think that the chances of finding out what's really going on are so absurdly remote that the only thing to do is say, hang the sense of it and keep yourself busy. I'd much rather be happy than write any day.
And are you?
No. That's where it all falls down, of course. Here we are then.
The platform slows to a stop. Arthur steps out and is stunned to see his house is partially constructed. The chimney lies intact on the ground, waiting to be holstered up. A row of hedges lies on the side beside the trench. But it's his house, all right.
Is this?
Starty Bart fast nods. Arthur's in a daze, stumbled towards the house. Interior Arthur Dent's house, Mark II. Continues. Arthur enters his house. There is no furniture, no photographs or books or any evidence of his existence there. He feels the walls, the countertops. He's home.
Arthur!
Arthur pokes his head around the wall to find Ford, Saffold, and Trillian sitting at an elegantly set table, stuffing their faces with a meal fit for a king. Interior Arthur Dent's house, Mark II.
What? What are you doing? What happened to you?
They talk while continuing to stuff food in their mouths.
What do you sing? Our host attacked us with a dismodulating anti-phase stun mist. and then brought us this amazing meal as a way to make it up to us. Try the mutton. It's fantastic.
This is fucking incredible.
They can't seem to stop eating, like they've been drugged.
Hosts attack you, and then you sit down for. Is that tea?
Arthur spotted a teapot on the table. He hurries to it, feels it, warm. He pours a cup, takes a sip, closes his eyes, and enjoys it.
That's a cup of tea.
We're glad you liked it, Earth creature.
He looks down to see the 2 white mice sitting on a silver platter.
After 10 million years on Earth, and a rather large chunk of that time in England, it would be utterly humiliating if we didn't know how to make a decent pot of tea.
Arthur stares in shock. He can't speak.
Arthur, these are our hosts, Benji Mouse and Frankie Mouse. They control a large sector of the universe in our dimension. I'm sorry. I thought you were told about the mice.
Yes, I was. I just wasn't quite prepared for the full reality of it.
He steadies himself on the table.
Sit, Earthman, eat.
Fook pushes his hand through the air. The chair at the end slides backwards.
In a moment, perhaps. I can't seem to let go of this table.
Sardi Bartfast steps forward.
Pardon the interruption, but I'll just be getting back to work now.
That won't be necessary, Slarty Bartfast.
Oh yeah, sorry. Smarty fart blast.
Eat.
Right.
It looks like we won't be needing the new Earth after all, now that we found the only living native of the planet.
But they've nearly finished the oceans.
That'll be all Starry Bard Fest.
Sardi is slightly hurt. Backs away out of sight.
I'm sorry. When you say the only living native, do you mean me? What about her?
Fook holds up a strand of hairs, same color as Trillian's.
We performed some rudimentary DNA tests on the ship. She's half native. Her real father was a Blahardid, the hyper-intelligent yet carelessly nomadic race native to planet Olbed, who apparently popped onto Earth for a one-nighter with Mrs. Frances Macmillan.
Well, this explains a lot.
She goes back to eating. Arthur is taking this all in.
So, mostly harmless and me. That's it?
We're sorry to have stage managed you so shamelessly. But once we learned you were the only full-blooded Earthling in the universe, it was important that we get you here by any means necessary.
We spent a considerable amount of time on your planet trying to find this wretched ultimate question, and the thought of doing it all over again on account of the idiotic Vogon sickens me to no end, which is why you're here.
Sit, Earthling, sit.
Arthur goes to pull out the chair beside him.
Not
there.
there.
Arthur jumps. The others look up. Fook and Lunkwill cover their outburst with a smile.
This chair is much more comfortable.
Fook makes a motion. The chair has pushed out before, slides over behind Arthur's knees, making him sit.
Drink.
He slides a cup of tea over. Arthur takes a sip.
It really is delicious.
Good. Glad you like it. Now, to business.
Ford and Zapfold raise their glasses like drunken sailors.
To
To business!
Fook and Lunkwill fire them a look.
Eat.
Ford and Zapfold eat. Fook turns to Arthur, smiles. No one notices. Through the window, a row of Vogons questing the hills.
About this ultimate question, you see, we've been offered a quite enormously fat contract to do the 5D TV chat and lecture circuit. When quite frankly, we're very much inclined to take it.
But And here's the point. We have to have product, which means we still need an ultimate question.
Or at least one that sounds ultimate.
Yes, got to sound good.
An ultimate question that sounds good from a couple of mice for a chat show.
And as it turns out, the chances are astronomically high that the structure of the question is encoded in your brain, which is why we need it. More tea?
Uncle tries to pour more tea. Arthur stops drinking, a little woozy. Did he hear them right?
I'm sorry, did you just say you need my brain?
Yes, to extract the question.
You can't have my brain, I'm using it.
Barely.
Cheeky little mouse.
We can replace it if you think it's important. An electronic brain, maybe.
A simple one should suffice. Who would know the difference?
I would.
No, you wouldn't. We could program you not to.
Arthur tries to get up. Clamps spring up from the chair and wrap around his arms. The dome flips over the back and slams down on his head. Arthur struggles.
Forward, Zaphod, Trillion.
They're gorging on the food, half lidded out of it.
Well, what are they? What's in that food? What is in that tea?
The platter that mice are standing on rises up, moves towards Arthur. Ominous surgical instruments spring out from it.
Don't worry, you won't feel a thing.
The mice on the platter move ominously towards Arthur. Arthur, still attached to the chair, backs away. Sides of rotating arms with circular saw blades shoot out. Ominous surgical equipment to remove his brain.
Wait a minute. Wait just a sodding minute.
An arm stops spinning. Arthur stumbles backwards and sits down in his chair. The others stop eating and listen.
You want the question that goes with the answer 42. How about what's 6 times 7? Or how many Vogons does it take to screw in a light bulb? Or here's one. How many roads must a man walk down?
Hey, that's not bad.
Through the opposite window, in much the same way, bulldozers arriving in the opening, we see more Vogons arriving.
Fine, take it. There's plenty more where that came from because my head is filled with questions. And I assure you, mate, no matter no answer to any one of them has ever brought me an iota of happiness. Confusion? Yes. Indecision? Loads. But happiness?
Rubbish. We don't want to be happy. We want to be rich.
Take his brain.
Luke steers the platter towards Arthur. He jerks his arms up. They break free out of the shackles and hits the platter. The mice fly through the air and land on the table right beside the POV gun. They scramble to their feet.
Shoot him!
They try to lift the POV gun, but it's way too heavy. Arthur, his butt still strapped to the chair, leaps over to the table and grabs the first thing he sees, a leg of mutton. He raises it high, and the mice look up.
Oh, bullocks.
Arthur brings the mutton down, squishing them flat. The others instantly snap out of their food-induced haze. Saffold suddenly clenches his guts.
Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick.
Arthur looks up and now sees the Vogon marching down the hill towards the house. He leans over the table, bumping his teacup. It shatters to the ground. On the hill just beyond, an army of Vogon police march over it. Amongst them, Marvin marches as well, a gun held to his head.
I must warn you, I'm feeling very depressed.
Mr. President, we are here for your protection.
Saffold appears at the front door and waves presidentially.
Hey, thanks.
The police open fire. Saffold and the others flee as the verge of fire continues. Trillian drops the POV gun, goes back for it. Arthur stops her and pulls her behind the truck. Marvin, who was walking towards them in the middle of the gunfire, catches a bullet in the back of his head. Sparks fly and he's thrown forwards.
Now I've got a headache.
He falls face down on the ground, his head emitting smoke, while the others watch from behind the truck. Is he dead? Behind the truck?
Okay. The thing I said about not saving my life because we're even? Scratch that. Save it, Will.
We need that gun.
We need tighter gun control.
Need his other head. Okay, I'll create a distraction.
He holds up his towel.
Brilliant plan. Certain it'll work.
You know, I think sometimes you say things that mean something other than what you're actually saying.
More gunfire erupts. Ford spins his towel until it's twisted and flop. He leaps up and runs towards the Vogan police force, who sees him coming, his towel held like he's going to whip someone on the ass. The Vogans are so caught off guard, they back away.
Run! He's got a towel.
Now.
She and Arthur both run towards the gun.
I
I
thought
thought
I
I
was.
was.
What are you?
I'll get it.
Get back.
You're
Oh,
all right.
okay, fine.
Fine.
They each grab the gun just as the police stop their retreat, raise their gun, move forward. Ford skids to a stop and runs back towards Arthur and Trillian, both clinging onto the gun, running back towards the truck. Gunfire erupts. Arthur and Trillian trip. POV gun goes flying and lands in Marvin's arms. The Vogan police run into formation towards the gang. Ford looks back, sees the Vogons approaching. He looks forward, sees Marvin raising the gun.
Duck!
Where?
He looks to the skies just as Ford fans out his towel and uses it to bring Z, A, and T to the ground, just as Marvin fires the POV gun. Questar ducks. The entire Vogan police force is hit. They instantly stop. Their shoulders slump.
Oh,
what's the point?
They turn their weapons on themselves and angle on Ford, Zaffel, Arthur, and Trillian, turning their heads as we hear the weapons fire. They look up. All the Vogan police lie motionless on the ground, including Quotes. Questar is the last one standing.
Marvin, you saved our lives.
I know. Wretched, isn't it?
Slarty Bartfast approaches them.
I've just been informed by some of the lads that since we're so near completion, we're going to go ahead and finish Earth. We could put it back exactly the way it was when we left, you know. Unless there's anything you'd like to change, something you think your planet could do without.
Arthur thinks about it, looks around, slowly nods.
Yes. Me.
He looks to Trillian, who raises an eyebrow. Really? She smiles.
Let's go somewhere.
Yes. You name it, I'll go.
I'm going to Hummers. He has my head, I think. Doesn't he? I'm so confused.
Don't worry, we'll sort it out.
Woo, yeah. Let's trip to that fantastic, baby.
A bit peckish. After we get your head, let's grab a bite in this great restaurant at the end of the universe.
As they walk away, we cut to Slarty's factory elevator, where they all board.
Okay, hold tight.
Everyone grabs the rail except for Trillian, who holds onto Arthur. Up into the sky they go.
Stand by for commencement of life cycle. All systems checked and cleared. Commencing.
We hear click, buzz, and watch nature blast into life. Animals run, flowers bloom, waterfalls cascade, mountains rise in the mist, monkeys bathe in hot springs, etc. Set to a wonderful, uplifting piece of music. Tilt up to the sky, the day turns to night. Stars appear, the heart of gold streaks through the stars. The end.
Thank you very much, everybody. Great job on all accounts. And that was Hitchhiker's Guide, and we'll see you next time.